Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mountainside Podcast. Our guest for this episode is Andy Arrabito. He's a former Navy SEAL who now spends his time as the owner and operator at Half Face Blades based out of San Diego, California. This company builds the most amazing tools, blades, knives for active military, our first responders, outdoorsmen, and just your everyday collectors. Not only is Half Face Blades building badass tools, this is a company that truly gives back to a ton of veterans and their families. I thoroughly enjoyed going to San Diego, sitting down with Andy, and recording this podcast. He's an amazing human being, and I can't wait for all of you to listen. Andy, thank you so much for having us in your shop, brother. It's great to get out of Colorado for a minute, get out of the cold weather, and come down here and hang out at the beach. So appreciate you having us.
Good to have you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm a longtime supporter of yours, dude. I own a couple of your blades. I own a Tomahawk. I love your shit, man. It's awesome. And
appreciate it, buddy.
Luckily, I got turned on to you early when you could actually get one.
Dude,
not have to wait, camp out on the internet, you know?
Right.
So congratulations on all of that, man.
Appreciate it.
It's super awesome stuff. It's super impressive shop here. Love meeting your dog Crow today, too.
Right. I love him.
What a rad little dude, man.
Yeah, he's such a good dog.
So, it seems like you're always on an adventure or working your ass off. What have you been up to lately, man? You got anything that's...
Yeah, that's true. It's one or the other. Either I'm on a trip or when I'm back home, I need to be in here, as early as possible, as late as I need to be. Man, this year, it's, usually January, February, March, April-ish is a little slower, industry-wise or business-wise for me. And this year just started off with a bang. Last year ended with a bang. Last year was really awesome growth. Business-wise, I went on a bunch of amazing trips, spearfishing, hunting, met a bunch of new rad people, hired 5 more guys, a few more veterans for the business. This year, blessed again to be growing. There's demand, being able to be creative, have a good team, as well as being able to take off on trips and things run well, with my guys here when I'm gone on a trip. So, I think the first trip this year, I ran out to Texas with some team guy buddies, Terry Hune, who we were talking about earlier, who runs Redcon Outdoors. Sean Rosario, he does start a foundation out east, Warrior Health, for guys. So me and him, some other team guys, met up in Texas, a big ranch, and hunted out there for a rancher and brought some meat home. Quick trip, really cool to see the guys and get out there in nature a little bit. Home, work, got invited down to Southern Texas, Brownsville, did a nilgai hunt there. Quick trip, come back. Jump back into work. I've had probably 2 weekends home here, and then the weekends home is let's cook, let's barbecue, let's see my friends. There's always something going on. Sometimes it's a bit much because I'm gone so much, so I'm like, I want a weekend by myself. That just ends up being on Saturday. I'll go hike 10, 15 miles, come home, and I'll be like, all right, who do I cook for? Right. What friends, who's around, call my buddies. And then Saturdays, Saturday evenings, buddies. And then Sunday, my buddy who was here earlier with the bald head, did a platoon of SEAL teams with him. He came back from East Coast, and he rented the house 5 houses down from me. And
no
his
shit.
wife and their 3 kids. So now they're over all the time, and it's good, man.
That's what I love about coming to San Diego, man, is the presence here. Like, you got these beautiful, pristine beaches. And I shit you not, like every 5 minutes, there's a Black Hawk flying over your head.
Or you hear jets coming out of Miramar.
Yeah, Miramar's right here, right?
Yep.
Top Gun. Is that still run out of there?
I don't remember. I think Top Gun might have been out down in the valley outside of Brawley, El Centro, but I'm sure they were coming in and out of here. Either way.
Hollywood shit, right?
Right. What's cool is you'll see, there's the normal aircraft coming in and out of here. And then once a month or once every couple of months, you'll have like the F-35s come in from like out in northern Phoenix, and they'll come in and they sound different, and you'll look up and you'll think, oh fuck, that's rad. But it's when you're somewhere where there's no military presence, like because I'm here, I notice when there's no military presence, and you appreciate when you come here. Like, some people complain about it, and you're like,
really?
Oh man, like
Fuck
some
those
people complain
man.
it's loud.
Hey, if you're
like,
complaining about that shit, you can turn
get
this
out of
podcast
town.
off right fucking now.
It's no joke. Like, one, there's such amazing pieces of machinery, right?
Yeah.
Just like the engineering and everything goes into it. Two, the history of our country, the history of the world wars. Like, these aircraft are just insane. Our military technology, the feeling of safety, what that
100%,
provides.
yeah.
Like, it's so rock and roll. I don't care if I'm like covering my ears because it's so loud. I'm like, I wish I was flying that bad boy, And
there's nothing better. Like, we were talking about the flat tops earlier.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm like in the heart of America when I'm in the flat tops, because
insane.
there's like 10th Mountain trains up there. Like, you'll see guys fast roping out of helicopters.
So rad.
And like, you're out there bow hunting or fly fishing in the
and you'll
summer
see those
or whatever.
birds flying over the mountains. You're like,
and then there'll be a bald eagle fly by. You're like, this is fucking
it's
America,
cool, man.
dude. Yeah.
We went up in one of my platoons. We went up to Fairbanks, Alaska, and we did like high altitude patrolling, like you would do in Afghanistan. So we took 47s in, dropped us off way out in the mountains out of Fairbanks, and then we just did patrolling, and you're looking down on mountain goats. You know what I mean? It was insane. And then you're flying, you go down in the valleys, and you're flying over the rivers, and there's a bunch of buffalo running. You're like, like, how do you? No picture, no video can describe the insane beauty. Flying over all the water and the little ponds in the middle of the forest, and there's moose. They're like looking up at you, and you're looking down at them, and you're like, this is so insane. How blessed are we? How blessed am I? One, to be here doing this, flying in a helicopter in the mountains in Fairbanks, getting paid.
Yeah,
you know what I
shit.
mean? And with my friends, and getting to see this extreme nature and this wilderness, and like,
That's
just
one thing
too
I
much
want to
good.
talk to you about. And I don't know what you can speak on. I'm a big podcast fan, and for our listeners that don't know, and if I didn't say it in the intro, you're a former Navy SEAL. You did a bunch of cool guy shit, man. Like, I'm sure everybody, when there's a podcast going on, they're talking about buds and buds training and stuff like that, but nobody ever really goes into what happens after buds, like some of the training you're talking about, like in Fairbanks and stuff.
Yeah.
Is there stuff that sticks out in your mind that it's like, man, that was just fucking awesome? Or
Yeah,
couldn't change?
90% of it, man, is really cool. Even the miserable shit is kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like diving, no one likes diving. The water's cold. It's pitch black, and I don't think I'm abnormal to know that every 5 seconds when I'm swimming under the ocean in midnight, I think I'm gonna get attacked by a shark.
Yeah,
the entire
no shit.
time. The 4 seconds in between those, every 5 seconds, I'm like, okay, all right, I know where I'm going. I cannot wait till this ends. I know where I'm going. I hope my swim partner gets attacked before me. Like, yo, it's nuts, man.
Yeah.
Like, whether you're diving out there or doing oil platform takeovers, Hearst cast, like jumping out of a helicopter, they come pick you up, climb up that little ladder. You're there with your buddies and you're swimming, and I'm like, I'm a real good swimmer, and I'll lift my legs higher and I'll swim really with my fins higher. Like, yo, if this shark gets anybody, ain't gonna be me. It's gonna be somebody near me, man. And then I realized, like, yo, everybody's probably finning like that, But at least there's 20 of us, so my chances are really low getting eaten. Either way, you got to do it. Like, one of those ways of getting over that fear is like, I don't know, suppressing that fear to a point where, like, well, it's been done before. Other people have done it. I want to do it bad enough. I'll take that risk, and I'll learn everything I have to, educate myself on how not to screw it up, how to be good at it, even though that's risk management. Risk mitigation is study it, learn it, educate yourself, practice it, and that's how you lower your risk, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
being well prepared, right?
And that's that's the point of the teams. That's the point of special forces. That's the point is risk mitigation and training. You train for the worst possible outcome on a mission overseas, so that if it does happen, you're more well prepared. You don't just train, to one team. You don't just train to 4. You always train for that, like 8, 9, 10 worst thing. And most of the time, it never hits that. But you be as prepared as possible for it.
Yeah. Well,
and that's
cheers
probably the
to
way
that,
with anything
man.
in life.
Thanks for your service, man. I
Cheers,
appreciate it. Can we talk about deployments, man? Like, I'm sure you've been on a shitload. I'm sure some of them you can't even speak on. But like, do you have some moments that are just like, fuck, what? This has been amazing,
the majority of, well, it's actually really hit or miss if they're fun or not, and it really depends. That year, if there's a lot going on, operational tempo is something guys talk about. You know, sometimes like in Iraq, there's doing these big pushes, or prior to ISIS, you know, during a certain time frame, there's just a lot of bad dudes, right, and a lot going on. And I was there, you know, '05 time frame with another team doing hits. We did some personal security. I was like lead driver for the vice president of Iraq. I'm 22 years old. That was cool, you know what I mean, for a few months. And then going to do direct action missions from there, going up doing sniper overwatch stuff in northern Iraq. And it's pretty incredible. It's a really interesting feeling, and I'm sure other guys have had that feeling, like, especially your first time going overseas, like packing your bags with your buddies, putting your gear. You have a go bag that has your body armor, your gun, and everything in it. You keep that with you, get on an airplane. 22 hours later, you know, you're flying, you fly through Germany, you're flying into a little, you know, in a base. Maybe it's Canada, maybe it's a big base, but it's your first time overseas. And what your knowledge is, you know, you're going to battle, you're going to hunt dudes. Dudes are fucking wanting to smoke you as well. And you're like, it's almost video game-ish. You're putting your stuff on, you're flying in, you're flying into a bad guy land, you're flying into, you know, a country of bad dudes that good and bad, and you're there to hunt them, and they want to smoke you. And it's like, rock and roll, man. Yeah. You know, I don't know, there's something really interesting about it. And then second platoon, third platoon, you know, you're looking forward to that. You do so much training and so much work, and you're with your buddies, that whole workup, getting ready for deployment. That's your vacation. You're like, oh, I've done all this before. Cool. You're training your new guys. You're getting better yourself. And then you're like, oh, can't wait. Next week, get to go. Like, this is our vacation, boys. Yeah. You know, and you're stoked to go. You're stoked to go overseas and finally do what.
Probably have a bit more confidence at that point.
Yeah.
Right?
You understand your enemy a little more. You understand a little more how it works. You know what to look for. You may be going to a new place. You might be, you know, Afghanistan, different than Iraq. Tactics. A lot of similar tactics, of course, but then your enemy has different tactics. How you operate is a little bit different over there. It's not so urban. You're out or more urban, I guess. You're out in mountainsides. You're out in small villages. How you fight your enemy is a bit different. What you're looking for is a bit different. You know, they fight different than insurgents did in Iraq, at least when I was there. You know what I mean? They're a bit different. So it's pretty incredible. Hit or miss. Sometimes you get overseas, not a lot's going on. More happens during the summer than the winter. The group of guys you're with make it better. Yeah, sometimes you're going on missions every other night. Sometimes they're a week, 2 weeks in between. Sometimes you're getting air, sometimes you're not. It's amazing. It's fun.
That's awesome.
You know,
and you were in a little over a decade, right?
Over almost 11 years.
Okay.
Did 3 platoons. I got Iraq, Southeast Asia, then Afghanistan.
Any major injuries or anything like that you came back with? I mean, I
don't know. Some are from, you know, training injuries. I went flying off a roof in Afghanistan, broke my nose for the 3rd time. Actually we took an RPG to a wall. I had been blowing holes in the wall. I turned, blew a hole in the wall. Who knows? I ended up launching into the compound forward, holding my gun. I was like angled too much forward, so there's no way I was landing correctly. And I was like running with my feet as fast as I can, so when I hit, I could run out of it. Didn't happen. I just hit. And my arm, you know, my arms pulled it under me, and I hit like this pile of logs and just knocked myself out, split my lip, broke my nose again, and my gear and my clothing slid up, so my back was exposed. And if you've been in Afghanistan, you know there's the most monster. They look like oversized bumblebees that live in the cracks of the walls, and all these bees just attacked me and just started stinging me when I was knocked out on the ground. So I was just laying there, face down, knocked out.
It's not funny, but it's kind of
it's hilarious. And I was getting stung. Obviously, I was knocked out, I didn't feel it. And the next thing, like, Brad Kavner's like, yo, wake up. And he's pushing me with his foot, like, get up. And I was like, oh, man. So I'm like, get up. He's like, get up. We're still getting shot at, you know, over the roof. And I'm like, all right. And I was like, oh, my back, dude. Like, something happened to my back. He's like, yeah, man, I think like stung 8-9 times, you know what I mean? Like, no one's gonna wake you up while you're getting stung. No one wants to get stung,
right?
You know what I mean? It's like, you dickheads, dude. You know?
That's heavy shit, man.
That's fun, man.
That's fucking
that's good. That, you know,
not a normal life, man. Like that.
I don't know. Everybody breaks bones.
Yeah.
That, I broke my leg, you know, stateside. Broke a few boxers fractures, titanium rods, and then broke all my fingers and ripped the meat down running training in 2012. Just had a ship hatch catch the wind of our Black Hawk, slam on me. I was getting out of the way of the main ship door, pushed my hand on the side of the wall to pull my leg out as it slammed, caught all my fingers on the hinge side of the door and just broke them all, ripped the meat down. That was an extensive surgery, and that was about 9 months before my EOS. So when I was running all the maritime operations.
And EOS is you're getting out of the service, right?
Service, yeah. Or you can re-enlist, but so I was at training detachment running all the maritime ops at the time for the teams and platoons coming through. And so I was like, start doing my surgeries and everything, So I just made kind of my own schedule, and it was before ISIS popped off. Op tempo was low, and it was like, all right, well, 100% disability. You want to stay in to do an LPO slot? And I was like, I'm at 11 years, not
Is
lots going on.
LPO training other guys? Just for
it's a
listeners
lead petty officer. So in a platoon, you have all your guys, and then your higher enlisted lead petty officer, chief, and then you have a senior chief that's in charge of 2 platoons. So I was, slot do LPO slot, and I was like, 100% disability, 30, 31 years old, 11 years. It's that time where you go, hey, I'm going to do another 10, retire, or I'm going to punch out. So I made the choice to get out, with my 100% disability before. I don't know. I think maybe at ISIS kicked off, I probably would have, and my guys were fucking going to war. I couldn't have let him go alone.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think.
And that's part of the team mentality, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you guys
want
call
to
it
protect
teams.
your buddies. You know what I mean? Like, one, it's like I want to be there for my buddies, and I know how good of an operator I am. I can watch out for my buddy better than the other guys. Two, it's competition. Like, yo, I'm gonna smoke more dudes than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna win this. We gotta go. We go together. But ISIS hadn't kicked off yet, and I think life, God, whatever it was, timing wise.
I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason, man, or whatever
I'm
that
not,
cliche
but
saying is.
I'm not, but
yeah.
you'll make the best of whatever happens.
Okay,
you know what I
there you
mean?
go. Yeah.
And the reason I'm not is there's so much bad that happens to good people that I don't understand it. You know what I mean? And when I hear like it happened for a reason, there's so many times bad has happened to good people where there's no good reason. And it's just life is gnarly. That's my belief. Now, some people, there's good can come of bad things, of course. Good can come of good things, though, too. You know what I mean? And you drive your car, you drive your life, you make those decisions, and you let certain things, good and bad, happen in life, drive you forward, good or bad. Drag you down, speed you up, help drag other people down, help them out. Anyway, They may. I'm open to maybe they happen for a reason too. I don't search for the answer of the reason. Like good and bad happen to both good and bad people. I know shit people that amazing things happen to all the time, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like
We
you know
all
what I
have
mean? Like,
those friends.
dishonest
Yeah.
bad, like dishonest bad people who have seen screw other people over so bad, and they're continuing to live their nice little life. And I'm like, that dude's dishonest. He's a coward. He's shit, and he's taking advantage of people, and he's just cruising. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know.
No,
Man.
I get what you're saying.
Karma,
though,
another
for sure.
thing like karma is like.
I don't believe in karma.
Yeah. One, always be good. Always
just
be good.
be a good fucking person.
100%.
Yeah.
Good morals, good values, help people in need, give people the benefit of the doubt. You're gonna get screwed over. Learn from it, but don't let it make you so callous that you're not willing to lend a hand. But don't expect anything back. You know what I mean? And like I said, the only thing why I don't believe in karma is because so much bad happens to good people and so much good happens to bad people. And you know what I mean? And you're like, it's called life, and you don't have to have an answer for everything, and you just accept it.
Not to mention, we got it so cush here. Like, you've been to some of the worst places in the world and seen that adversity, so I think people should fucking listen up a little bit.
Yeah, I think, religion can be so good for people and can give them at least an answer of faith. Like, with faith, you can believe it'll be a certain way. They can relieve you of heartache, whether someone died, whatever, you know what I mean? Which is really good. I grew up religious and stuff, and I think one thing that it does, teaching good morals and values, whether someone's religious or not. You don't have to be religious to have parents that teach you good morals and values.
Yeah, the concept it's amazing, right?
It doesn't. Good morals and values isn't religious based, but a lot of religion teaches that, which is a good thing for people.
Sure. Cheers to that, man. That's well put. Speaking of that and morals and stuff, the Trident is such an iconic symbol of the SEAL teams. But from a SEAL, what does that really mean to them? You know what I mean? Like, people have it's such a rock and roll thing right now, right? Like, it's a rock star. It's turned it into a rock star type of thing, right? Hollywood's all over it.
Unfortunately, it's driven a large force of guys who become team guys for the pat on the back to be able to say they're fucking Navy SEALs. Unfortunately, with that rock star supposed lifestyle or attention, you get all these people who want to claim it and not live it, that want to get the, I don't know, not stardom. It's not, I wouldn't say that, but they want to get the attention for wearing a trident without understanding that it's about sacrifice and your willingness to go and not come back for your buddies. And there's guys who get in who don't put the effort forward because they think the effort lies in their trident. The effort lies in you to make that trident good. Do you know what I mean? The effort lies in you to make that trident a symbol of fucking love, integrity, strength, and honor, and humbleness, and loyalty. You should make that trident what it is, right? That trident doesn't make you what it is. You should be a good man in the morning, trident or not. You know what I mean? The way I love and respect other people, I don't give a shit you wear a trident or not. I don't care what branch of the military you did. I don't care. There's some guys who are like, well, do you respect me because I was just a whatever in the military? And I was like, are you a good man?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what suit you put on.
Do it well. Yeah. Choose it. Do it well. Like,
is that an old school mentality now? Like what you're explaining compared to
I think there's good guys now, obviously, but I think it's few and far between. And you get, from society, where we've come in society to where, it became such a cool guy job. You get guys who are attracted to it, of course, that want to say it, and it's a rude awakening for some guys, but as the teams, whatever you want to say, get pussified, and we lower our standards for this guy, then we got to lower them for that guy. We push guys through.
It makes you softer as a team, right?
100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know what happens? Here's the worst thing about it. The guys, the good dudes with the experience, with the leadership, with the skill set, they're like, F this. They go out to dev group. They'll come out, do a leadership role here, maybe on the East Coast, and they're like, I can't do my job in raising these younger generation. This sucks. And they punch out and they get out. Good dudes get out. They go out East, do some platoons out there at dev group, rock and roll. And they're like, they want to give back. Bad. Dudes want to give back. Guys want to stay in with that experience. One, war is going to war with your buddies is amazing. It's heartbreaking, everything involved in that. But it's also raising that next generation that we know we need in this day and age. In the next 20 years, what's going to happen?
I think those principles go across the board, whether it's military or not. How you treat everything.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I think that there's good books and a lot are not. There's some good old school movies, and then there's just too many. You got drama. You got drama series that makes
I'm with you.
And you know what? My biggest beef with that is it takes the holiness. The more you portray guys in the teams and what their job is, it takes the holiness factor out of it, right? And it makes it, normalizes it to the everyday folk and gives them opinion. And when they watch it and they feel like this must be how it is. And you're like, dude, it's not even close. Like, there's a holy factor in the military and special force, in the military in general, serving with your brothers under a risky environment, But my experience, obviously, in the SEAL teams is like, there's a holy factor being there with your buddies. There's a holy factor of not thinking you're going to die going on a mission. There's a holiness factor of coming home alive with your buddies. There's a holiness factor of sitting there, and when you're on a big base and other military members have died, and you sit there and do ramp ceremonies where they're loading them on a plane in their American flag draped caskets, other group services. We wake up, not the whole base even gets up and goes to these ramp ceremonies. We in the teams wake up no matter what time of night it is, or we're still awake, and every single one of us goes over there, puts our dress uniform on and goes over there, and we stand there no matter who it is and watch that body and that that patriot and that war fighter, no matter what their job is, get on that plane and fly home to their loved ones, that they don't get to talk to them anymore. And it's an amazing reminder of your sacrifice and what you're doing and the sacrifices of those around you, that you're never guaranteed tomorrow. And you better crush your job. You know what I mean? You better hunt the enemy with extreme prejudice. And you better try to bring your boys home, and your boys are going to do that and be that for you. You know what I mean?
100%, man. And I'm so thankful that we have those men and women like you that have gone out there and done that.
I'm just blessed, man.
Yeah, super blessed. I mean, that's what makes us what we are. That's fucking what makes us American, man. I've been fortunate enough to go all over the world and see some shit, but not like you guys have seen. So I'm very grateful for that, man. And that's one thing we're grateful here at the Mountainside for that. So that's one thing I want to promote.
Great, dude. Yeah. I'm as humbled and as grateful. Like I got to walk among giants. I got to learn so much. I got to love so incredibly deeply, and I've been able to feel such incredible deep loss. You know what I mean? On such extremes that everything in between, it's not a curse. I can't say it's a curse because it's a life. It's volunteer.
Sure.
You know what I mean? There's a certain mentality trait. I don't think anybody would say that they're cursed to be in that job, even if they've lost a lot of guys. It's not your choice to lose guys. You know what I mean? It's harder when someone dies that, like we were talking about my cousin, that's harder than...
My cousin too, man. Same sort of story.
It's harder to lose somebody like that who you should, I'm the bigger man trying to help that person through than I love and respect my buddies and we chose this, and you couldn't have told them, hey, in the next they wouldn't have gotten out of the teams if you said you're gonna die. They'd be like, we all may die, it's how we fucking live. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't stop it.
It's such a fucking awesome outlook, man. It's how you live.
Great thing,
because so many people get caught up in just their fucking down life, and
there's so much more. There's so many more people worse off than you. There always is, and that's always like a baseline, right?
Sure.
There's somebody worse off. There's somebody who's lost more. There's somebody who can't provide more. In my mind, when I'm if I ever feel bad about myself or something, I'm there's moms who can't provide nourishment for their kids and their children die. To me, that's bottom line, the most heartbreaking thing ever, right?
Sure.
And it's
it's got to be
not
real.
be able to provide nourishment enough for your child to live, where you'd give your own life if you could, but you can't, right? And that's baseline, the most heartbreaking thing out there. So I'm there's always people worse off. And then worse off, if you've lost family members, and that's heartbreaking, of course, and you should have that sadness, you let it affect you, but
you can't dwell on it, man.
Right. I've lost some family, and I had such a beautiful relationship with them when they passed away. I'm blessed, you know what I mean? Because death happens to many family members. It happens to many people on here. I'm sure with you, we've lost people, and in my mind, it sucks more if I had a bad relationship with them.
100%. It's about the time that they're here and how you utilize it, right?
And, depending on the time of your life or your fights and stuff like that, you may not be getting along with somebody, and you always kick if they pass away, you'd kick yourself in the ass. I was pissed at them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Petty shit a lot of times.
Over some bullshit, yeah.
In general, I don't know. Life's
if you
so
just take
gnarly.
4 steps back and look at it, problem sometimes.
Yeah. Or something worse happens to your buddy, and you're like, oh, this is not as bad as I thought.
Right.
Reality check. Your little bubble check. You know what I mean? I don't know. Life's so incredibly wild. It's so insane. It's so... I don't know. There's so much to take and give, right? Respectfully. I think you get more mental health learning to love yourself, and that's a battle for most people, especially people in a sacrifice role of their life, and being able to give back and care. I think people sacrifice so much, especially in the teams. Guys are protectors, and guys want to love so much. I think guys in the team, special forces, have a problem finally being I love me too, because you've accepted your death so much. You don't want to feel like you're worth something, because it's more heartbreaking if you die. Because I don't know how to explain it, but I know
get
guys
what you're
battle
saying,
with loving yourself, because you want to be able to sacrifice more easily.
Yourself doesn't matter because
Correct.
You're here to protect other people.
Correct, and you love others, so that guys, whether they get out or a long time in the teams, I think that they have a little bit of a battle with, I think they know they're loved, but personally being like, I love me, I'm worth value, you know what I mean? Because especially when you get out and your value goes from being in a platoon, being responsible for other guys, loving your buddies so much, like going to war and proving your love. When you get out, you go from like a responsible position or a position of responsibility to, you know, a nobody. That's how dudes feel when they get out. I think that's where a lot of depression comes when guys get out. You go from being everything with that level of pride to just a fucking random.
There you go. Go get a job. You know,
right?
like, yeah.
And I think it's a fucking hard hit for guys. You know what I mean? Being just a normal dude now, where you've lived this, and especially so many guys, it's in their entire adult life. You know, 18, 19, 20 joined. Fucking 34, 5, 6, 7,
they're growing
39.
up. They're turning into men there,
Bro,
right?
that entire time's in the teams, and you're like, I'm a nobody now. Not that civilians are nobodies, but like that's you coming out of this role of extreme responsibility and to
it's
nothing.
like you got to restart, right? Like,
yeah, to nothing. It's hard, and guys are like, oh, my entire adult life was in the teams.
Well, that's what I love about your shop, man, and what you're doing. Like, you've definitely picked up and ran with what you got going on, man. You got a lot going on, and like just walking in the door, the greeting that me and Anna got here was fucking awesome, man. Like,
yeah,
you guys
you're
are
awesome
all
guy.
Super humble. Everybody that works here is rad person.
Yeah, we got a good team.
And you got Crow running around, dick punching me with his fucking toy or whatever.
I didn't teach him that. Yeah. Picked that up on his own.
He's like, hey, asshole, play with me.
Yep.
No, he's awesome. Did you have a dog? Were you a dog guy?
No, I did some secondary dog handling in case one of our guys went down with his dog. But no, we split our platoon up. Each of our squads in our platoon had a dog handler that got grouped with us for deployment. One was a guy, Trevor Marshak, and his dog Chopper. He went with Alpha and Bravo. We had another dog. His name was Cairo, different than the East Coast Cairo with us. He's passed away now.
So Crow looks pretty young. Was he an active duty
dog?
No,
there's a foundation called Warriors Choice Foundation. It's a prior Marine down in Florida, Anthony Longo, and he runs Warriors Choice Foundation. He raises and trains them, breeds them, trains them, sells some, and then donates them to guys. There's a team guy, got his legs blown off. He's in Colorado, donated one of Crow's brother, I think, to him. Donated a few of the other dogs, and he's working on another litter right now. Been working with him, raising funds for his foundation, getting guys involved in that. Really just amazing prior Marine running that. So that was my dog Nug for 13 years on the wall, and I had him through 2 deployments. Awesome. Just a good big American bulldog, and all my ups and downs and relationships and times on the teams, like with me, you know, any depression, everything, he was my boy.
Yeah.
You know, and he died Thanksgiving morning 2 years ago. And I was like, I don't want another dog, you know, but one of my close buddies had met Anthony and was like, hey, you're going to want to give him a dog. So I was like, if I do get a dog, I probably won't just get, you know, name one Crow, you know. And so eventually he's 6 months old, and I'm getting pictures. And I was like, I flew down there when he was 8 months old being trained, and, you know, really fell in love with him and connected with him and flew home with him. And he's like, he's what I need.
He's awesome. He's got metal teeth. Like,
what's
up with that?
If they chip their teeth, a lot of dogs in the teams over time will start chipping their canines on bone and stuff like that.
Okay.
So they'll do titanium caps over their teeth. So he had chipped, he was getting rocks out of the river, and our friend's daughter was like throwing rocks to him. He's catching them. He chipped his tooth. So
Catch this, buddy.
I just was like, you know what? Let's cap them all so he doesn't chip them over time. So if you look close, they're all engraved.
Oh, really?
I laser engraved all of his teeth before we capped them. One says like "Kill Bad Dudes." There's an American flag, half-face logo, and then what's the other one? I forgot what's on the other one. Oh, a trident on his other tooth, engraved in the titanium. He's rad, and he's just a lover.
So what all do dogs do in the teams? I mean, that's something that a lot of people don't really talk about.
In general, they'll do, you know, drug and bomb sniffing and attack. But we, you know, multi-purpose canine. But you know what they love the most? They love that attack work. They love that work the most. They thrive off. They enjoy it. They are good at it. You know what I mean? So that's majority is how we work the dogs.
And they're high energy. Like the whole time we were in here setting up, he's like, dude, who's playing with me? He's like
1 to 10 energy, that's 3. That's low. That's 3 compared to a dog's.
Really?
Those dogs. They're such high energy. They're almost annoying, Malinois in general. They have to be being told what to do all the time.
Right.
Or they're annoying. Or if you don't see them, they're digging through a door, a wall.
Sounds like my 3-year-old.
Well, they're like annoyingly like they have to. He's the most mellow Malinois I've ever
He's
seen.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Good dog.
Just likes to snuggle. Take him on hikes, runs, come home, watch a movie. If I leave, I'll put like a dog movie on for him. Put some Benji or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benji. That's a great one. No words in that movie
Just
except for the old dude that like found him, you know? It's just like mountain lions and puppies.
Benji, right? And Benji walked up the river.
This little raggedy
Milo
fucking Shih Tzu or some shit, dude.
Put Homeward Bound on for him.
Hell yeah. Good shit, man. Throwbacks,
man,
like some
right?
Goonies or something, you know? Good stuff, man. Let's talk about your background a little bit. I mean, what kind of got you into the teams? More like your childhood.
All right. Question again. Prior teams. Prior. Like,
yeah, just like childhood. Did you grow up in the mountains, or you?
I grew up actually in a little town called Angwin, right above a little town called St. Helena in northern Napa Valley. Like really beautiful wine country. Poor smelly kid in school. Lived out in the woods. My mom still lives in the home that they were building with the owners of the land onto a barn. It's an extension on a barn. I was born at home birth, fifth wheel trailer, while they were building the little extension on the barn home. My mom still lives there. It's incredible. I go back. I'm like, Mom, I want to get you a house, get you out of here, and that's a goal of mine. You know what I mean? But it's where I grew up. It's where my brothers, my family, where my dad, like. The atmosphere itself, no joke, in my mom's home. I grew up real Christian. My mom and dad were both ministers, super beautiful, loving, good people. Like the atmosphere itself, everyone talks about it. People love coming there, staying there with my mom, getting my mom's opinion on life and judgment. She's a beautiful woman. The atmosphere itself is so peaceful. Everyone feels it, and they like going there. It's tiny, it's small. I grew up with a huge garden. The neighbors had goats and chickens, so we'd get eggs and milk the goats. And, I didn't know I was poor. I grew up in the woods. Like 3-4 months out of summer, we were sleeping in our forts in the woods. My two older brothers were big into Native American history, and we were, they'd be reading how to, skin animals and use the brains to tan the hide and using acorns. And we were learning how to trap critters, and we loved animals, so we always would like keep every animal as a pet, and salamanders. We would be out hunting mushrooms, It was just such a great experience. You don't know you're poor. You learn so much by the time you're going into, elementary school, high school. You literally know more than like 99% of the kids, right? And they're like, you go on field trips with them, and you're like, oh, that's this mushroom. Oh, this is a salamander, fire-bellied newt, and it's cool, man. I grew up in that household,
I grew up very similar in the mountains of Colorado, and I was explaining to. Thank you, Anna. Appreciate it. I grew up in the mountains of Colorado, and it was very similar to that. It was like we, as kids, would go get a hotel room. We would go get a hotel room with a single mom, and it had a pool in it, and you would have thought we were at fucking Disneyland for one night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, dude? Like, we didn't know any better. Like, you don't need.
You're not getting. It's getting cold. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't give it. Yeah, whatever.
It doesn't affect you.
Yeah. We didn't have a whole lot of toys. Luckily, our grandparents and stuff. I think my first toy was like a hunting knife. You know what I mean? Like 22 at 10 years old. Like, I was responsible for it. If I fucked up with it, like, it got taken away, and that was like.
And it's a knife. Like,
we're using pine cones and playing. I was watching
Grenade
Rambo.
out. Every
Grenades
stick is a gun.
Hell yeah. You got to find the right stick.
Yeah.
And it's like
it's the same, man. We were, my brothers, they love Native American culture, man, and like I said, big outdoor family, and it was like learning to build. Thank you. Learning to build, little bow drills for lighting fires, and everywhere we went, like, right?
High octane. Thank you, Anna.
It was amazing.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
All good.
So
it was great, man.
Do your brothers still hunt with you or anything like that? Or?
My dad was loved history, and he was big into religious history documentaries. He was in Alaska. Went up there a couple times. It's incredible up there. Was doing a documentary on a little village on a guy named Manilik. So this dude had dreams or visions of how to live better, and had taught his whole village. And the mortality rate in this one village, they were living until they're like, 80 years old, where all the other villages, mortality rate like 50, 60.
Really?
And it's all because his people changed their way of life and living and eating up there. And so he was doing a documentary on that. So he had taken my brothers up there. Like I said, they were fishing, flying around. They were flying home with the pilot, got pulled off course, flying by Anchorage by Talkeetna down to Anchorage. And in a storm, the pilot was going from visual to instrumental and hit a mountain, and everyone died.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I was 7. My sister was 11. They were 9. Tony and Joe were 13 and 11.
How old were you when this
7.
happened? Holy shit, man.
I was trying to go on the trip, man. I guess it's good I didn't, huh?
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
Wow,
it was wild, man. It was like, and they couldn't find the plane for 4 days or so. I was like, I just had that feeling, I was like, they're not coming home. And I kept telling my mom, I was like, they're dead. And
wow. My
mom was like, oh man, like the plane was missing for 4 days. They hadn't found it. So it's obvious, but I remember, everybody came over to the house that evening. My uncle, my mom's brother, was a pilot.
That's so heavy. I wish I wouldn't have asked about it almost,
no,
dude.
Man, I had a beautiful relationship with them. My brothers were young dudes, incredible. I grew up with them, learned so much. By the time I was 7, I was building snares and eating raccoon jerky and learned so much at a young age and learned to really love and appreciate the outdoors. And my dad always traveled and would come home, and when he was home, he was an artist as well. He did these, and he's got all this cool art.
These are his paintings?
Yeah, these are really, that's a
no
print.
Way.
That's just a print right there. The original's huge. Actually, what's crazy, so those little left ones over there, those little ones, one of my Half-Face Blades customers on HFB Enthusiasts on Facebook, who I was on eBay looking for knives, came across, it's a Jim Arrabito, looking up my last name, found those and got them off eBay and sent them to me.
How rad is that, dude?
Yeah, and
That's
I want
awesome
to collect these paintings, that my dad had done, and they're all over. There's a dentist up in Angwin, Dr. Williams, that has this original, it's foxes like that, and it's a huge, beautiful painting he was my dad's friend for, I don't know, 40 years or something, and he's like, hey, I'd love for you to have it, so I'm making him a chef knife set and trading him for an original now.
That's so epic, man. Yeah. Those are fucking really good too, man.
Yeah, that one's incredible. There's an African lion one that's in my mom's house. It's like this by this, just incredible. Anyway, but I had a great relationship with them. Traveled, learned so much. Was so blessed, even at a young age by that. And the heartbreak, that I saw in my mom and my older sister and how it affected them. And I'm sure it's affected me and maybe why I did things in my life a certain way, why I had to drive, why I surround myself with friends, why I don't like to live alone. I like living with my buddies, you know what I mean? I'm sure that all boils back to that loss of family and that sense of brotherhood I wanted in the SEAL teams. And also then coming into the shop here and
was your dad
building a family here,
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Was your dad military at all?
No, my grandfather was. His dad.
Okay.
That's his, when he died, that's the flag that he was given. My grandma.
So he was a SEAL too?
No, he was in the Navy, World War II.
Oh, I'm sorry, the flag that's
the flag.
Yeah. I mean, for you to come out of all that adversity, you could have sat around and moped about it your entire life. It's like
a good relationship. You know what I mean? There's it's more heartbreaking thinking about my mom lost. Like I lost brothers, I lost a father. I've gotten my butt whooped many a time since then to fucking learn respect. You know what I mean? But my mom losing her 2 sons, losing her father, and then I'm sure she was stoked when I was like, I'm joining the SEAL teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Was she supportive of that?
Yeah, my mom's a woman of extreme faith.
Sounds like a good mom. Shout out to mom. So
yeah, extreme faith, love. We have our battles, but she's a pure. I don't know why she's never been taken up yet.
Right?
She's probably the best woman I know. And she's full of love and like I said, faith. And if I'm going to war and it's my time, then she believes in God's purpose. And it is what it is, and I'm sure that helped with my viewpoints in life and the way she raised me and the way she had to be a mom and a dad. And I look back and I was no easy kid, I'm sure, but she had to play mom and dad role. So I got a little bit of dad in her. I got some, I think her mom role, she had to be a little more tough, you know what I mean?
Sure,
so,
she had to play the good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, and
routine,
I'm
you
sure
know?
that's a battle for a mom or
I
dad
can't,
being single, you know?
Yeah, my mom's the same way, man.
I'm okay with her getting married now and having a relationship, but, you know, growing up, I was like, you dare. I was like, I got holes dug right now, Mom. I got holes dug right now.
Nobody's good enough for my mom.
Do you really? And I was like, absolutely. You know, I got friends, too. They'll dig. They got holes dug as well, you know?
Good stuff.
Good woman.
So what was the decision for you to go into the Navy? Was it just like something that you always wanted to do, or did you stumble across it?
No, Ethan, my cousin, had got me a Navy SEAL workout book when I was in 6th grade. And I was like, oh, cool. You know, and I was like, Navy SEAL workout book. I hadn't even heard of them. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't have much TV growing up. We were just playing the outdoors. Navy SEAL workout book. Dude's climbing this net, 40-foot tall net, like rock and roll, running on the beach. Like, military soldier was always cool in a kid's mind growing up, at least, our generation. And I was like, wow, this is cool. Looked through it. It was like workouts, not really war stuff in there, just workouts and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then, that was 6th, 7th grade time frame. 8th grade, freshman, you started looking into it, a little research. Internet started coming around then sometime, I'm old. Yeah. And, I looked into the different special forces and what they did from Army, Navy, the Air Force, TACP, stuff like that. And I always enjoyed the water, and I was like, well, looked in a little deeper, which people don't do, which they should, like Army ASOF, Navy SEALs, like Army bases are in shit places. That sucks. Like,
right.
Navy bases and the SEAL teams are on the coast. You're by the ocean. Awesome. San Diego, like, all right, maybe it's the teams that we can do, stuff overseas the same as other Army forces, and I was like, all right. So toward the end of my high school, I went to a few boarding academies and got kicked out, and a few 5 high schools and 5 high schools in 4 years. I quit my senior year actually and moved to Montana and lived on a ranch.
What awesome country up there, huh?
I wasn't in the nice part. I was in more eastern Montana.
Okay, yeah, that's different.
I
have some family that lives in Kalispell, so I used to go up there as a kid.
Beautiful area. I was not there. I was outside of Billings, like east of Billings.
Oh, shit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the ground, like June, July, August. In August, the ground isn't hard enough to barely dig a hole. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I lived on this ranch. There was cows and sheep. And one of my jobs was they'd go burn the fields, right? And then I would get up at 4:30 in the morning and drive a 4-wheeler with a tank of water and drive around the outside and spray water so it doesn't take off. And then my other job was to pick up the dead baby lambs and dump them off this cliff every day. And my chick teases me now and stuff too, like, was the Hannibal Lecter, Clarice, Silence of the Lambs thing. And I was like, it's nuts. Like, I counted, like, in one morning, I picked up 168 dead baby lambs.
Holy shit.
And had to dump them off.
What was it? Were they drowning or
something?
No,
because if they have them during the night, it's so cold that they're not going to survive at night so much. If they have them early morning, they have all day to drink milk, get warm, and they'll survive the night.
Did you see all those African animals that died down in Texas?
Yeah, all the exotics.
Fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, but same thing up there. It's cold, so if the sheep has it in the evening at night, it's either got to be in the middle of the pack to stay warm, or it's going to freeze. So you go out there 4-wheeler with the little dump trailer where you pull the pin and lift the trailer and you throw them in, go dump them off this bank, go get more. I don't know how many I did. I mean, 168 one day, 80 to 90 every day, few weeks, It was nuts, dude. I really did not enjoy it. I thought I'd enjoy working on a ranch like that. I didn't like the people. It was nuts. I made friends. I'd go feed these young bulls every morning, and I was like, I didn't have a cell phone to talk to people. I was like cut off. And I was like, oh, I can work on this ranch in Montana, rad. Yeah. No mountains, badlands. Yeah. Didn't like the people I was there with. Picking up dead baby lambs. I had a CD. This is nuts, dude. I had a Sony CD player right then. Yeah. And I two.
Mark and the Funky
Dude,
Bunch.
no, I had 2 CDs. It was what a hot dog flavored water. What was the Fred?
Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit. It was my one CD, and my other one, I can't remember the other one. I had 2 CDs, and I was like, oh my god, like I'll forever they're just burned into my memory like I'd be listening to Limp Bizkit throwing lambs off of this cliff, and I was like, this is no way to live, dude. What am I doing here, man? I took my skateboard. I grew up skateboarding. I took my board. I had this little square piece. I practiced my tricks. 9 blankets every night, freezing cold. It was so wild. And then I made friends with these like 4 young bulls. I named them. I'd go feed them, pretty aggressive. I'd feed them, and then I'd go in there and I'd hand feed them, and then I would sit in their trough and feed them and pet their heads to a point where I could stand with them, pet their heads. They didn't like anybody else. And I could put my butt on the top of their head, and they'd throw me in the air and come back again, like play with them, man. I named them all. I had a little
like the bull whisperer, dude.
I had this little plastic Kodak camera, like click, click, click camera, and all my pictures, I took like 2 of those worth of pictures. Every picture was like this of every single thing, just my middle finger in front of it, man. But what a wild experience! I'm still grateful.
Learning
for it.
lesson, right?
Dude, it was nuts. Like I love Montana. I'm not going back there. Just to burn that place down. But I made, I don't know, man. Relationships. I'll never have a relationship with those people again. But I'm blessed to experience some wild shit.
Yeah. You got some cool stories.
Oh man.
So let's talk about half-face blades, man. For people that are listening to this that may not know what half-face blades is and the little empire that you built here.
There's a bunch in there.
Yeah. We'll throw some up over the video, yeah.
Put some pictures up. They can always go to the website or the Instagram. I post, I honestly on Instagram I probably post like a quarter of what I make.
That's crazy, yeah.
I make, my team makes.
In my opinion, they're baddest ass blades, tools. I mean, they're really well built. They feel good in your hand. There's cool. I'm big into Native American culture. I grew up as a kid. I have a minuscule amount of Native American in me, but I grew up just in a family of bow hunters that love that culture.
Yeah.
We would go out and hunt arrowheads in South Park and find them all the time.
Yeah.
And, knives were always a big thing. Like that was one of my most cherished gifts from my grandfather.
Same.
Tools, and exactly like you just said. And like what you build is just so much more next level, man. It's cool because you do like some stone work, a little bit. It looks like rock work.
Yeah, it looks like, I want it to look like that the way you chip an arrowhead, which goes back to like when I was going with my brothers, we would go get obsidian. There's a little mountain in St. Helena called Glass Mountain. The whole thing is obsidian, and you drive up, you sit there, you pull some dirt away, there's chunks of obsidian.
That shit is razor sharp, man.
Bro, you get like those big nails in leather, and you sit there, and my brothers learned to make arrowheads, and we'd collect them. Like I still have this day like a little box of arrowheads that we found, like, dude, that lifestyle.
That's awesome.
It's American history, right? It's where we came from. It's the settlers who pushed west, carving their lives out of the land, right? It's the fucking mountain men. It's, from Native American culture to Western life to Lewis and Clark to the way, sadly how wars were fought from Native American side to the West and battles, right? American history. The toughest, like carving your life out of land, like that's the toughest thing ever, right? You want to build a log cabin, you want to stake a claim, you want to go, like that's tough,
luck, yeah.
And that culture, that society is just raw, tough, just raw toughness, right? And like my Crow Scout is based off like Bowie knife, but I call it a Crow Scout. And if you read up on the Crow Scouts, the Apsaraki, the Crow Indians, worked with Custer as the scouts, because there was other Native American, the Sioux were like coming in and encroaching on the Crow land. And the history is incredible, man.
It's the whole history, and it varies from tribe to tribe and what they did, like the Comanches, and just there's so many books that you can read that are just fucking mind blowing, man.
Yeah.
Like, And I think about it from an archery standpoint, and that's what I love reading about.
Yeah.
Like, I hunt with a compound bow. Every arrow is machined perfect.
Right.
Every arrow weighs the same. Every broadhead is, down
Machined
to
perfect.
the
125 grains.
Yeah. And these guys are like literally chipping rock out.
Yeah.
And I've said this before on the podcast, and I think it is Empire of the Summer Moon or one of these books I was reading. I don't know, have you read that?
Is that Old Crow? Is that Joe? Is that Joe Medicine Man?
Oh no, you know
Empire
what?
Sun and Moon.
I get them mixed up. This is actually
I have Empire Sun and Moon. I'm reading one right now. It's 3 years with the Comanches.
okay.
Guy lived with them. There's Old Crow. It's Joe Medicine Man. Another one. There's 2 books by him.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get them mixed up because I read so many of them.
Yeah.
But the one I'm referring to is actually it's Joseph Marshall, and it's about Crazy Horse.
Okay.
And it's a fucking awesome book. If you haven't read it,
I have
great.
it on books on tape. I end up stuck on one book, and I'm like 10 minutes from home, but I'm like to and from work. Like
then you got to go back and listen to it again.
Yeah, well, I'll get stuck on one. I'll
Yeah.
listen to part, and then somebody be like, "This one's good," and then I'll start a second or third book, and I'm like, "Okay, hold on those, go back." I did all the Terminal List, which is written by a good buddy of mine, Jack Carr. Terminal List. Did all
Big
those.
fan of those.
Yeah,
Man.
he's so
Really
good. He's
awesome.
just such a good man. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
back to
we're
the
getting
Native American
sidetracked.
culture, and then we originally were talking about blades and their tools, where it comes from, how we use them,
How innovative.
how we put art into them, how special they were to you, how special they were to me growing up. These I made. One of the things is we made some knives with my older brothers on those rock, fucking tabletop grinders with the stone wheels.
Yeah.
We would take old leaf springs and make just the shittiest tools, right? But my brothers make themselves something cool, and then I'd get like a piece of metal. But I'd sit there and watch them. They let me grind for a second, But I remember Tony and Joey, my cousin Jamie, Steve Hamilton, one of their best friends who became one of my older brothers growing up, making these crappy tools. You know what I mean? Back in the day, and they're fucking the coolest things ever. And they had their own knives they made, Dude, it was amazing. And I have a couple of those knives. They made Bowie knives. They used like liquid nails or something back in the day to put the handles on,
Yeah.
It's still stuck together.
Yeah.
I have it at home, and it's like the first knives I ever made, the first tools I ever made were these primitive tools with my older brothers, And the first little girl I fell in love with, I was probably 6 years old, Hannah Taylor, still friends to today. Her dad was my dad's best friend. Like my mom and dad started a little bank account, whatever, around the house, quarters in my bank account. I had like $27. There's an Ace Hardware at the little store. I went in and found this beautiful little knife, 2 little blades, little fake ivory handle. I bought it. It's like old timer. I bought it for Hannah. You know what I mean? Like, I remember that 6 years old.
Hannah, you better still have that knife.
Oh, who knows, man? She's her little sister, amazing. Our best friend's a family. Her dad was my best friend. No, we're still friends to this day, man. She's married. She adopted some children. Her dad, was my dad's best friend, John Taylor. Which, this is a goal. The plane crash up there, still on the mountainside. I went there in 2000 with my mom and sister, checked it out. People had gone up, pulled bodies and stuff, like old knives that my brothers were bringing back, handles burned. I have those
Wow.
here. I keep wanting to go back up. So I'm working with, hopefully it's with Ironclad Media. They're on the East Coast, amazing guys. Working with them, trying to work out a trip to go back up there. The prop is still there. Just mangled, crazy three prop, whatever it is, 3-blade prop. So trying to work on a trip. It's a huge goal of mine. Raise the money, figure it out. Get up there. I want to take my dad's best friend, John Taylor. I want to take my mom, fly up there, go find the crash site again. It's been a while. Take helicopters in, land, hike up into where they crashed in the mountains, get that prop, bring it out, strap to a helicopter, and fly it out.
Fuck
And
yeah.
that's a fucking goal. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it this year. Not this year. We'll do it next year. I want to, I don't know. I got closure. I know my mom has closure, but I think something like that. My sister is a missionary. She has 4 sons. I think it'd be cool for them to see who their grandfather and uncles were.
Just to have a piece of that too.
Yeah, it's just beautiful to get out there. I want to take that prop. I want to put it on a wall here. I want to engrave their names on it and put that prop on a wall to every day remind me of where I came from, how precious life is, how easily it's lost, and you better make the best of it, right? And help those along the way who struggle. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? So anyway, that's a goal. It's a little side goal. It'd be pretty fucking cool to do.
That'd be rad. You should totally do it, man.
Take my dad's best friend. He would just be like, "What?" Like, I don't know if he's ever been to Alaska. Like, flying a helicopter is cool enough.
Badass,
you know, coming in a helicopter, like, dude, let's land. We're gonna hike a mile. We'll just get up there where the crash sites kind of come down a hill. We'll sit on the rocks, like, give it a moment. Like, there's like a belt buckle with some metal hanging off. The other end of it, metal hanging off. Like, it's wild, but it's so, like, I don't know. It just reminds you how precious life is, man.
Yeah, no, 100%. You should totally do that, man.
Yeah,
I'm behind you 100%.
We'll get there.
I'll pitch in my $100 or whatever I got to do, man. Help out with that too.
We'll figure it out.
Straight up.
Yeah.
But your knives.
Back to the tools. You know?
No, it's all good, man. This is what we do, man. We can talk about anything we fucking want on here, dude. This is our podcast, and this is your podcast. So, your knives and the tomahawk you built me means so much to me. It's one of those things when I take out in the wilderness with me or whatever, I'm like always checking, like, did it fall out? Is it still there? You know,
well, that feeling we were talking about earlier of, like, when you're a kid and you get your first knife and it means so much to you.
Yeah.
That's like a goal of how I want, like, these to feel to people. Like,
well, it works because that's
I want
how
to custom to you.
So.
If you grew up in the redwoods and you want redwood burl, like, I want to make that for you. We've had 5 or 6 guys get their knives and cut their babies' umbilical cords at birth with their knives.
Damn it! Why didn't I think?
We had a guy.
That's so beautiful.
We have such a rock and roll dude. He came in. He put his birthstone, his wife's birthstone, his firstborn son's birthstone, and then they used the knife to cut their kid's umbilical cord. And then we had already made the pocket and put the new kid's birthstone in it. So there are 4 birthstones of the family members in
no way.
A little knife.
That's dope.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off, but, like,
yeah, but that's what I love. What you guys do here, you take it to that next level, right? And like. I think my very first knife from you I actually bought as a gift. And I mean, shout out to Ryan Bates and Brandon Cruz and JJ and some of those guys we were talking about, some of our mutual friends, prior to this. Is I spent hours with those guys just hanging out at like a monster show, right?
Yeah.
And we had nothing better to do. We're down in Baja, Mexico. Like, there's fucking absolutely nothing going on, dude. None of us speak Spanish. Well, maybe a few of them, but we're talking to each other, so I got to know those guys very well, just hanging
characters, man.
Yeah, total
the best, like,
best guys. Yeah,
bro, those I can't even I can't describe how fucking incredible those dudes are, and how much they mean to me. Couldn't even put it words, like,
and not like we're close friends, but like for that 12 hours, I got to know them, and they're just every single one of them were great guys.
Wow, they're fucking beautiful, they're fucking savage, and they got the biggest hearts, the most loyal, tough, man. Like, those dudes are like chiseled in my memory as just great men who I always want to make proud and love. And I got a bunch of others, but like Jeff Wobig is a guy you guys don't know. Like, I don't know, man. I'm so fucking blessed. I have the most amazing, big-hearted, coolest, best-looking friends.
They are all like male models,
bro.
Man.
Ryan Bates, dude. Jeff Wobig. You should see this dude's jaw. We call him Cro-Magnon, man. Yeah. His jaw is a little wide on top of his head. He's got fucking 5 kids. Amazing, great dad. Like, that dude grew up on elk and deer meat in Colorado. He barely works out. The dude just cut. He's 36, 37 my age, and the dude's. He doesn't have to work out. He's just cut. His jaw gets bigger every time I see him. Like, what are you eating, dude? He's like, I don't know, elk.
Yeah.
Like, dude could run 1,000 miles. Like, I don't know, man. I got some beautiful buddies, and their hearts are even bigger.
They're good dudes, man. And they actually turned me on to you before you even had like a website. I think it was like on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I hit you up.
For 2 years, didn't do a website.
I hit you up. Like, I was like, hey, you're like, well, pick out I don't even remember how it went down. I might have been a little bit stoned or something. Who fucking knows? But drunk, one of the two. And I had this really important person that I wanted to get a knife for, and I picked out like coral for the handle, dude, like, and I was so happy when I got it. I had it shipped to my house because I personally had to put my hands on it before I just gave it to him, you know, and he lived in a different state. So I like delivered it to him, and still to this day, I mean, that means so much to him. And so I bought one as a gift before it was even, I had my own. But then the one that you actually made me that I keep for myself is a Crow Scout Junior. Yeah. And it's burl wood, and it's got like a red rosin in it. So it almost looks like blood, dude. It's just this like dark red. And I fucking love that knife, man. It goes every elk hunt trip, fishing. And then so when a tomahawk popped up with the same sort of style of handle, I was like, done. Yeah. You know, and then it went from there. And it was like, so yeah, I got my own little collection, man. I'm a huge fan of it, and I love what you do. And I love that you're keeping it real too, man, that you just keep doing what you've done from the start. And I really appreciate that, man, because so many people could change that, you know?
I want, you know, like, I want it to, you know, not everybody's the same. Not everybody has the same walk. I want it to be, it's just a tool. I'm not even a knife nerd, you know what I mean? Like, we can make some swords and some cool shit, right? But, like, I want it to be usable, quality. I want to be able to use it, and then we can go as simple, tactical, extravagant as you want. But I want it to be usable at the end of the day. And I want it to, like, I don't know, speak to you is too nerdy. I want it to, like, I want you to feel it. You know what I mean? I want you, that's why the custom, there's so much in the custom world of knives. It's, you think my knives are expensive, and custom folders are insane. Like, custom knives are really, really expensive, you know? And I know my knives get expensive, but, like, you'd be surprised at customizing how
I've
expensive
seen the work that goes into them.
Yeah.
And how many guys that you're employing right now back there, which is awesome, man. And everything it's basically hand done, man. Like,
you can't speed up. The hard thing is, like, I can't speed the process up when it comes to custom. Production, I can get another machine. I can have another guy. We can work on that. Custom is custom. It is what it is. You know, and the reason they get expensive, too, is, like, a piece of koa, a nice high-grade piece of koa, $60 or $70 for the wood before we even start a knife.
Right.
Before it's even stabilized. Do you know what I mean? And by stabilize, you take the wood, put it in a vacuum chamber, put stabilizing fluid in, suck the air out of the wood, suck the juice into the wood, wait till there's no bubbles, wrap that in aluminum foil, put it in an oven and bake it so it dries, so when you attach it to a handle over time, it's not splitting and cracking because of moisture and everything. Some guys, knife makers, don't do that. And you know what? Like, you want to charge a premium for a knife, do it right, and if there is an issue, answer the phone.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
You know what? Like,
and that's one thing I love about yours too. Like, when I first got it, you send a little note like saying, "Hey, this is how you take care of it. This is how you fucking oil it. Yeah. This is what you need to do for care. If something breaks, please send it back to us." Like, it's all written out. Yeah.
Don't abuse it. You know, I'm updating that whole thing too because, you know, right now the secondary market is really big, and I'm like, hey, when you get rid of it and sell it, and somebody else comes to me and wants a full refurbished because they want to sell it, I'm not doing it for free. You know what I mean? If you break the tip and it goes through 3 people and someone breaks the tip, like, I don't know if you weren't prying with it. It's not a pry bar.
Exactly.
So we're kind of going through a phase where it's like, you know, homie hookup is really rad, and I want that. But then it's also like, you're taking up time in my shop. I will treat you with the utmost love and respect and take care of you. But there's a responsibility that lies on you as an owner of anything. And it's taking care of your gear.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Right. And I'm not responsible to take care of your gear.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for telling you how. And I would be responsible if it's a defect of my fault. And I listen, I would give knives away for free all the time. Like, Kelsey's the one who's like, no, you got to charge. I'm like, well, man, like, he's such a good guy. Like, can we hook him up? He's like, no, you can't pay bills by giving knives away. I'm like, well, you know, like, can we just, you know, hook, you know, she's a pit bull. I'm like, I can do it for free.
Well, dude, the thing I love about your knives is it's all about the end user. They feel great. They work great. They hold an edge. They're fucking amazing, man. They're some of my most cherished things that are either in my safe at home, and if they're not in their safe, they're on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
where I keep them, right there.
That's
with all
honor.
that
Like
sort of stuff.
that's humbling, and that's rad. And when I get messages like that, and we periodically, it's so good. Kelsey gets a message like, "Man, your customer service is so rock and roll. Thanks for answering me back. Thanks for making it right. Thanks for doing this." You know what I mean? That's one that's pretty primary in my book. Is if you buy an expensive item that's quality, there needs to have somebody that answers the phone, that talks to you, that explains, that is like, "Hey, this happened. This happened. We can do this." Like you gotta have. That's part of what you pay for. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Is somebody you can talk to about it, questions, fixing, right? I want the customer to use it. It's up to them. It's a usable item. Like I use good steel. The steel is good stuff. You know what I mean? I want you to connect with it. I want, when we do custom
not like
work,
going out and buying a buck knife off the fucking checker wall. Or
no,
whatever,
you don't.
know what I mean?
The production knives are rad. We switch them up all the time. It's the same steel, machine ground, machine jimping, bolt-on grip. It's the same steel. It's the same design. Where the custom one starts, and I wanted, I really like that was a big goal too. Is like people who want the design because it's a working design. People who want to support the company because it's a patriotic American veteran, family loving rad,
and it's not
company.
just you, dude. Like
my team is amazing.
Yeah,
I'd like if people think I'm making these all alone, you're nuts. You know what I mean? Like I started under the awning in my backyard. I started with one plate of steel. Looked online, looked on YouTube, was like, what's a good grinder? What steel do I want to use for this end result knife? Series 1, I did 50. All I had was a Facebook, started Instagram, just took pictures of my process of learning. It's nuts. I did first 50 knives. People were hitting me up on Facebook, my seal buddies, other people, like, I want one of the first 50. Yeah. Right, dude. So I numbered the first 50. Dude, you know what the first 50 are going for? They're going like 10 to 15 grand.
That's so rad, man.
Nuts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have 00 and 01, my camis, it's nuts. Like, I like one grind under the awning in my backyard. It got to a point I was like, yo, Elliot, my roommate, like, he works here now. Will you, $13 an hour, $12 an hour, like, don't go to work parking cars. Come work with me. You're my best friend. We might as well work together. Let's do this. Then Miles, Seamus, my seal buddy, built a little shop in my backyard, 10 months into working under the awning, bought 2 more grinders. The first pictures of the first 50, plastic table with a piece of tape with the guy's name and email. You know what I mean? It was so cool. And seeing those knives now, I'm like, wow, like we've come so far. A lot of the people are like, don't clean it up. Let it, like, we did a shit job.
That's awesome.
Of like cleaning the steel up. They're incredible though, man. Like it was for fun. I had started a business with some other guys who were so dishonest and had screwed me over prior to starting that. I didn't have a wife and kids. I got my disability. I was like, I can live off my disability. I can start a hobby that reminds me of my brothers and my family. I can work with my hands. I can provide something for my seal buddies and soft buddies still active. And then as that grew, it became a business. I hired my best friends, my buddies. I created naturally something that I needed for my own mental health with my friends around me, with the family around me, the way it was when I was in the SEAL teams. You know what I mean? And so it naturally blessed me.
You're making me love my knives even more right now, man. Because the thing that runs through my mind is like one of my very first like actual hunting knives, like besides a pocket knife that I'm sure that my grandfather, like, because I didn't grow up with a dad. I grew up with grandfathers and uncles that were super cool outdoorsmen. And I'm sure that he bought me like a knife and took it over to the grinding wheel and just went, like right against the edge, just like
so rad.
So you don't cut your finger off or something, right?
Take the edge off. Here you go, buddy. Take that tip off, and when you don't fall on it, we'll sharpen it.
Yeah, exactly. But then when he, like, later in life, once I killed like my first elk or deer or whatever that was, I think even prior to that, he gave me a knife that was his. That he had carried forever, and it fucking badass knife, right?
That had been used.
I still have it today.
That's so cool.
Still got it, man.
History.
And I'll never get rid of it, man. That's the one that I don't take out and use because I'm like, fuck, if I lose this thing. But like, I want to hand that down to my son.
Yeah.
And same with your blades. That's what I think about. I'm like, I'm buying something that's going to last for generations and that will mean something, So, like, I really appreciate
man, you
telling the story, the care that you put into it. So.
Dude, absolutely. I wanted to like, I want the knives. I want you to use them. Like some people set them on a shelf, depending on what they want. Some people use them. You can use them. You know what I mean? I want something that, especially as they make it as wild as it is, like use it. And then when you pass it down, it's not just a look. It's not just you bought it. There's the real history behind it is how you used it, is what you did with it. You know what I mean? It's what you did and teaching your son, giving it to your son, you know, your daughter. That's what generational, I don't know, dude. Look at, there's so much bullshit out there, social media and shit. Like, what can you give your kids? You know, it's not giving your kids a knife. It's giving your kids part of you, something you use. Skin an animal. You know, you go out hunting, use it to skin an animal, put the meat on the table, have a great dinner with your kids, explain where it came from, teach your kid how to hunt. He uses it to skin an animal. Dude, like, how cool is that? I want that. Like, that's what makes it special. That's what makes it custom. That's what makes it part of your walk and your mission, whether you're a chef or an outdoorsman or, you know, you're in the military, like that
and you got a lot of guys that deploy with your tools, tons. Right?
Oh man, it's insane.
That's got to feel good, right, man?
Yeah. You know, the most humbling knives we do are ones with like human ashes, or we've done a lot of knives where we
Sorry, you said human ashes?
Yeah, so the guys who passed away that we were sent their ashes and then we put them in the handle of the knives. So we've done a lot, or like their clothing. Yeah, so like Charlie Keating, who had died fighting in Mosul, the platoon sent us his bloody pants. Or brought him in, took the pants, took American flag. He was a big waterman, like amazing dude, big waterman, like the most joyous, outgoing, awesome dude, big smile all the time. He had found a whale bone. We ground it into powder, put it with fiberglass resin, cut his pants, cut American flag, all layered it, and made handles for 36 knives out of his pants.
Wow.
And put his initials in the blade for his dad and brothers and his platoon. Like, that's like the holy factor.
That's so rad.
And you know what's even cooler? Like, I'm working on it.
Because you're carrying a piece of that person with you, dude, forever, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
I mean, what an honor and what a tribute.
Right, you'll never find one of those knives for sale. You know what I mean? Like the guys who own them, like, that's fucking love. That's respect. That's tradition. You want to really go back in knives. Like, back in the day, that's what you gave as a gift. Like, from Native American to Vikings, like,
sure,
you give a guy, you know, a knife or a sword. It represented you can protect your family with it, and there's nothing greater than protecting your loved ones, right? So giving somebody a knife was, I love you so much, I want to give you a tool that you can protect your life because I want you alive. I want you a part of my life. I want you to protect your family because it means so much, right? So like that gift of a knife like goes back so far, you know. Anyway, it was just like, that's so honorable, so humbling to do that. And then from there also there's a couple brothers, the Haskell brothers, that died in 9/11. We got some of their clothing, made handles from that. We've taken working dogs from law enforcement to military working dogs, ashes, and inlaid them in handles, to just guys who've lost their dog, and we put it in handles and tomahawks, knives. Quite a few people who have passed away, we've taken their ashes, put it in knives, from chef knives, you know, and it's...
If somebody wanted to get something like that done, how do they reach out to you? Is it through the website? Like,
the email's there. You know, email's there. We figure it out. That's what's so cool. Like, that's what's so humbling, and what's so cool is the guys in my shop who've never served and stuff, working on a knife like that, and like, this is where it's coming from. This is where it's going. This is the history behind it. The pride that a guy in my shop who's never served, who loves me, that I love them, a buddy, whatever, like, yo, there's so much cool pride in those guys work on knives, and they feel it, they sense it. It's not just your everyday knife. It's something that's getting passed down. It's something that you've got, you know, a lot of these special projects. I have Seamus, he's a prior team guy, amazing dude, father of two, father of another two, you know, kids, and he loves these special projects, and he's just really amazing at it. And like, he's taken somebody's remains out of a bag, he's picking the big pieces out, he's inlaying them with his own hands. The dude went into a room in Iraq. Dudes were shooting at him. The dude's AK jammed while the guy was shooting. He has the round of the jammed AK that dude shot at him on a necklace. Like, the guy's experienced, his buddy's dying, the guy's experienced almost his own death, and he loves these projects, and he like the most utmost love and respect. He's giving these knives, and the way we give the knives, I don't know, it just means so much. And like, we're so humbled, like, people are trusting us and entrusting us with being able to do some of these projects. And that's what like makes us super stoked as a shop, humbled as a shop, work together, the team, like, that's the goal. I don't know, like, the humility.
Cheers, man. You guys are doing
cool,
it fucking
man.
right, dude.
We're so fucking blessed.
Yeah.
I'm
Totally,
so blessed.
Dude. Cheers to that. I don't know if
team.
you've ever Googled your shop or your knives, but there's some blogs that are dedicated to people talking about how much they like your knives.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I just stumbled across one here where there's like a couple of guys going back and forth bragging on each other about how, well, I have this blade, and this one guy's like, nice, well, I have Resco's blade, and this one's great. I mean, there's a lot of love for your work out there.
There's some guys, really amazing guys, big supporters, who started HFB Enthusiasts. It's on Facebook. And then they invited me to be an admin. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, it's so cool. Like, my mom's on there, some of my relatives, like my sister and my mom, and I get on there and answer questions or update people on things going on. It's such an so many of the people are like, this is the best group I'm a part of. They care about each other. They watch out for each other. Like, they meet up and trade knives. Dude, it's insane. Like, they'll come down to the shop. They'll be guys like, they're like, hey, let's see how many knives we can donate to active duty guys. And they'll get together and they'll raffle knives. They'll put knives together for first responders. Cool, man. And then when I hear about that, like, I'll get in there and we'll donate a knife. They call people out for dumb stuff. They like, we protect the branding. They protect the branding. Man, and my mom gets on there, like, they're really, really, in general, like, really beautiful, awesome, caring people that are running it and that are part of that group. It's like, 2,500 people on this little HFB Enthusiast. They literally watch out for each other, take care of each other, raise funds for groups, donate to foundations I donate to, donate knives to guys going overseas. Like, it's such a cool rock and roll group, and people brag about how much they love this group. My mom is like, she's like, I'm so heartwarmed today. I was on that group, and there was a guy who hasn't been able to get a knife for a year and a half, and one of the guys sent him a knife. You know what I mean? And I'll hop on him like, that guy, like, okay, hey, you get first pick next, dude. I'll make sure you get taken care of. Like, I'm not always on there active, but look how cool and blessed I am to have this group of people that enjoy the knives, love them, protect the brand, and I want them to watch out for each other too and other people.
I think the reason why is you're much more than just a knife company, man. You guys do all kinds of different stuff. Like, I saw a bike that you build. I'm a big FXR enthusiast. Love FXRs. My wife's going to divorce me for how many I've had in the garage probably by the time I find. It's like, it was a good deal. I couldn't pass up on it. You know what I mean? So,
there's been a couple that we you guys almost fucking auctioned. There's a badass one that, I don't know. It probably sold now, but bad. Bad bikes.
But you guys do so much. You give back. Yeah. All the guys that work in your shop are veterans, or most of them, right?
Probably half. I think I have 18. That's I think a lot of people have an idea that I'm still in my garage. Maybe
Really?
I've been blessed to grow the business. Hire half my buddies. I got some team guys' sons who work for me. I got team guys. I got some prior search and rescue guys, and probably a good half the guys are military. Other half are, skateboard buddies and buddies I grew up with in Northern California. Some team guys' sons, that I've hired, and a couple Craigslist guys that are solid.
It feels like a family when you walk in
Absolutely.
here. It doesn't feel like, oh, I'm at a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That sucks, man.
As much as it is.
Yeah,
but
I don't want that,
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Cheers to that.
When we walked in here today, everybody was like, yo, what's up?
Yeah.
How you doing? Here's the dog.
Yeah.
It's not official, like, hey, I was like, I thought there'd be more of you, you know what I mean? I was like, and you had your stick in your hand. I was like, oh, cool, that's there, man.
Man, we keep it pretty low key, so
that's cool.
It is what it is. But some of the other companies that you're involved with, and I don't know, like, I just know of, like, We Kill Bad Dudes. There's Canoe Club that we spoke about, right?
Yeah.
Is that a new one that's
just working
kinda
on
started?
that with Ryan, working on doing an ammo, ammo distribution, working on that. See how that goes. A little side project, fun.
Awesome.
Everybody needs ammo.
Yeah.
So,
especially right now. Holy
Yeah.
shit, man. You can't
Yeah.
even go find ammo on the
KBD,
shelf.
you know, is a side project, and I really wanted some of the guys who've been with me the longest to kind of learn business and make some money on the side. I don't know clothing so much. I know knives. It's such an interesting. It's really easy to start clothing companies. Kind of started that as a side project to
You
not
build
be
more
stressful.
of brands than
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, I started that side project. I gave 49% away to the guys that I've been with the longest, just so they can learn business and good ideas and kind of get figure it out. I didn't want it to ever be stressful. So it's still a side project, learning that a little bit, growing
Sure.
it a little bit. I want to pass that off more on the guys to learn it. I think it's a bit aggressive in the beginning. I think we need to dumb it down, or we're just going to get kicked off social media, you know?
I love seeing it though, man,
Right,
because it's good shit.
It's
man,
fun.
so-
There's a million clothing companies.
right.
That's the hard thing, you know.
But you guys also have some tools on there and stuff. Like I think I bought
Yeah.
one of your germ keys, and I don't know if
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was through Half Face.
that was half face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, man, and
Yeah.
like I love those things. That was
Yeah,
at
it's
the
fun.
height of the pandemic, and
Yeah, it was like
goes
like
fucking
2,000
everywhere
euros,
with me.
like-
So yeah.
It's cool, man. Those are fun side projects. Getting involved in other companies has always been like a Christensen Arms this year. Getting to be an ambassador for them is really cool. It's an amazing gun company. I'm gonna hunt this year with my bow from John Dudley and knock on, and so do some rifle hunting in Alaska. Like, I don't know, man. I can't be more blessed to have good friends, a good team, get to go travel a bit. By me being blessed, like, I want blessings of my friends. I want everybody else to get blessed too, you know what I mean? As much as I can, you know.
That's what I love about you, man. And the more I read into you and doing my homework before this episode, I was just like, this is better and better, man. So thank you again for having us, man. And thanks for all that you do and
I couldn't be
the
more
way that
blessed.
you give back, man. Like what are some of the foundations that you're involved with? There's a bunch, man, and I don't know if we have time to list them all, but I know that you give back to a lot of foundations.
Yeah, the
too.
more we grow, the more we can give back, and then I'll kind of change my focus to specific ones that may need more or less. American Warrior Association, real big. My close buddy, retired Master Chief, runs that. Tribe 1513, I'm working on setting up right now. A little adventure therapy that I'll run. SEAL Future Foundation. There's so many C4 Foundation, the Charlie Keating Foundation. There's so many good ones. There's some big ones that they got their money. Some little ones where I'm seeing where the money goes and it's helping out so much. There's some that are helping guys do more of like an ayahuasca type medicine. Some guys working on that side of it, hooking guys up with that, which is I've seen more good come out of that. For guys, I love staying involved in those foundations. I've been really blessed myself. I haven't had the courage to do some of that medicine personally, but I've seen so much good for others. And I don't know, man, like the more I can grow and be blessed with love and support and what I can do and hire guys and be with my friends, the more I can give back and try to push that in directions or give attention to those areas to help people, right? Like,
and it kind of
There's
goes
no
back
brainer.
to that mentality is you're only as strong as the guys that are holding you up. I mean,
Yeah.
type of thing, right?
yeah, like
So-
my job, I love getting back there grinding knives, and part of my job is that every day I want to make sure I'm getting my hands dirty and cut. And part of my job is building these friendships, these relationships, getting the name out there, getting the branding out there. We each have our part in the business. My job is to take care of my guys, teach them what I know, make sure I'm not making someone do something I haven't done.
Sure.
And I need to take care of those guys, and those guys need to take care of me and protect the branding, and look at like what a cool team we have, and our team has grown because of the relationships and the friendships we've built. That group we were talking about on Facebook, I consider that team. Like I have
Yeah,
people.
hell yeah.
Well, it's so crazy. They're just knives. I'm not even a knife nerd. I use my knives in the day. I'm an end user. They're just tools. We've people send pictures of their new children. Like, here's my new baby, and I'm like, oh, what a cute child. Like, I met this person because they bought a knife. You know what I mean? Like, the friendships are greater than the knives, man. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
That's super rad.
I don't know if you've looked recently, dude, but you actually have 3,500 members in that group right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the 3,500.
There's a lot of love in there, dude.
3,500
I mean, half of
teammates.
these posts are like, look at my baby. I got married. Like, anybody
cool,
want to
man.
trade this? I mean, it's so
Right?
cool, dude.
It's cool.
It's a community. Yeah.
It's rad. And like I said, it's just a tool. It's a piece of metal at the end of the day that does a job. That's really wild. Like, branding is huge. Branding is cool. Lifestyle is cool, but it's a tool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not. It's the greatest blessing on earth that's come out of this is the mental health from being with my friends, and then the friendships and the relationships that have been built is insane. Like, it's insane.
We wouldn't be here.
Dude,
Yeah,
I'm
awesome.
like your support and your love.
Yeah.
You know, being able to make a product for you that resonates with you, that you want to hand down, like, that's the goal, right? Our friendship, you know, us from talking to doing this and then finding time and me putting you off a million times, you know what I mean? Like, I can't
It's all
do it
good,
yet.
dude.
Like,
I get it.
We'll
So,
get
yeah.
there and
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I mean, I couldn't be more proud of my team. I couldn't be more blessed by the heartbreak I've had in my life and the good I've had. Everyone's going to experience that. And what can you do for others? Because everyone else is going to also experience those.
Hell yeah. It's a
You
great
know.
outlook, man. That's why I love this company. So, you know, outside of here, you're a big outdoorsman, sportsman, hunter, conservationist. I mean, you can go down the list, right? Like, that's what you do to get out and have some fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been on some amazing hunts. You did like a red stag, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to New Zealand. Did red stag Himalayan tar. Took one of my best friends down there, a photographer, like this genius who built Supreme.
Really?
Yeah, incredible.
Wait,
dude.
Supreme, like the skate company?
Yeah, so my best boy Berto, with the owner of Supreme in New York when they had the small shop, he was like, dude, we need to start one in LA. Convinced him, said, I'll go start it in LA. Started the LA Supreme store, and it's built and started every new Supreme store. I don't know if you know DEF CON. There's vans.
Familiar? I would love to have a pair of their vans, but
Yeah.
I can never fucking get them like your
So
knife.
he started DEF CON with another good buddy of mine, Jeff, or Syndicate originally. Does all the custom. So now I own part of that with those guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I
they
was gonna
run
ask
it.
you
Like,
about
they're
that.
just, this dude's incredible. Jeff and Bert are the most humble, rad dudes. Like, the guy's a genius, man. The biggest heart, loving dude. Like success is not it. Like, money isn't it. It's your relationships. You know what I mean? And he makes me upset because he gives and gives and gives, and I'm like, dude, like, watch out for yourself. And like, stop. Like, and he's so loving. He's so good.
Yeah.
He like gives and gets taken advantage of. Dude's a genius. The guy, like, he like built, $1 billion fucking company. Like, he's incredible. Anyway, I'm fucking talking
Yeah.
about my friends. They're
No, it's all
incredible.
good.
But I don't even remember where we're at.
We were talking about hunting and just you got to take him with you to
I
go.
was like, dude, I
red
got this
stag.
this opportunity. He's an amazing photographer, good buddy. I was like, let's go down there. Yeah. Flew through Australia. So one of our other good buddies, prior Aussie SF guy, Danny, and H, Kurt, went to New Zealand, hunted, came back. It was a wild trip, man. That was a cool trip. And hunting in Colorado, bow hunting, got into bow hunting, 3-4 years ago. Man, incredible. Hunted, met John Dudley. I've never met him face to face, through social media. He's buddies with Andy Stump and other team guys, and just big supporter, amazing.
I love
big
the
supporter
Cleared Hot podcast too.
Yo,
by the way.
Andy
That's
Stump
one
is
I
such a
listen to,
he's really funny.
Shout out
He's got
to
this
Andy.
dry sense of humor. Yeah. He fucks with people, and they're like, especially like, he can't fuck, like his team guy buddies. He can't really fuck with, but like we'll be setting up for a podcast or hanging out, and he'll say something to somebody around that's doing something, and they're like, "Oh fuck, that guy hates me," and they're like, "You're like, oh my god, Andy!" Like, I'm like, Andy, that guy really thinks you hate him. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, he'll figure it out." You know what I mean? Like, oh my, he's rad. Like, he's got this dry, almost sincere sense of humor. He's just a good man, awesome guy. I don't know, man.
So I got to ask, because we haven't really gotten into this, and dude, we've been burning up the clock here.
Yeah.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, but
Yeah, we're here for you, bro.
Oh, I'm here for you, man.
Thanks, dude.
But, what does hunting mean to you? I know you're a super ethical guy when it comes to that. And
I mean, what's cool is there's a lot of big hunters who feel the same way I look up to, from John Dudley and many others, Donnie Vincent, guys who've been doing this. There's a guy who, really amazing guy. He runs Modern Outdoorsman, Tyler Sharp. I don't know if you've seen.
Yeah,
incredible. The guy, photographer to getting people involved in that. The dude's
he's
incredible.
Involved with Black Rifle?
No, I don't know if he's done interviews. It's just Modern Huntsman, and he's been a photographer for a long time. Educating people on hunting, right? People see somebody with a lion in Africa, they're like, F that dude.
Yeah.
Right. Get it. Trophy hunting, no, I'm not a big fan. I like to hunt for my food. I like to feel part of the earth. I like to feel part of the system. I like to make sure that we're hunting properly, ethically, putting food on the table. There is something to be said with a lion that's been kicked out of a pride, that the country itself needs money for paying anti-poachers, rangers to do anti-poaching. So they sell this lion for $55,000. The money goes to a conservancy, flying guys in to teach the rangers to do anti-poaching. Like, it's not, the government's going to get a part of it there. But a lot of the money from these little countries comes from hunting and hunting African animals.
Well, it's even
and
the same
people
concept.
don't want to hear the education side of it.
Yeah.
As much as I wouldn't go trophy hunt. I'll hunt for the meat, of it. There is some good that comes from trophy hunting. And in general, they're not going out there. They're not picking this elephant that's in charge of this pack that's banging a bunch of females to have a bunch more elephant babies. That's not the one they're shooting. It's the one that's been attacking villagers that the villagers are going to go kill anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the old one. Like, it's one that's injured already from poachers. It's like there's some ethicalness to what happens overseas. And guess the fact what? Whatever hunting is allowed over there for money is still more ethical than poaching.
100%.
You know what I mean?
And I think a lot of people don't realize where hunting money goes. I mean,
They
even
don't.
in the state of Colorado, it's fucking huge, man. It pays for
It's insane.
all the bridges that go over the rivers, all the nice trails that we have.
$675 to go hunt from an out-of-state person.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm willing to pay it every time.
Yeah.
Like, it's a blessing for me to be able to go do it over the counter tag. That's a lot of money going in to the state. Most states don't spend their money too wisely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But conservancy is huge. You know what I mean? Like, I want to fill a tag. If I kill an animal and I lose it, I'm going to let them know. You know what I mean? Like, how do we keep the animal population strong? How do we make sure if it's dwindling, how do we get that information? It's ethical hunters that are properly reporting, right?
Yep.
Cows, bulls, what they see, and bears. Like, unfortunately, not everything can run wild, right? We as humans have moved in as ethical as we can be, environmentally understanding, but logically, right? You can be an environmentalist and be completely illogical, but logical, it's our duty, right? Logical duty to take care of the land and ethically keep it going, improve it if possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And there's a lot of ethics that goes into just putting – people need to look at the ethics of putting food on their plate, whether they're going to the grocery store or not, and buying it, and where that shit's raised.
Yeah.
And, I mean –
people love that, out of sight, out of mind.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I eat meat, but that's bloody.
Yeah.
Like, well, dude, you know what? You might appreciate it more if you killed it yourself. You might give it more love and respect if you killed it yourself.
Yeah, and I don't understand how people think shooting an animal is worse than it living in a cage for its entire life and never seeing the sky.
Yeah,
I agree.
What's more disrespectful to nature?
Yeah, I agree. I think, you're going to have both. We raise animals to eat. And we also are so incredibly blessed to be able to have the choice. If you don't want to eat meat that's raised on a ranch or in a big farm or whatever, you got the choice here in America to go get your ass to a fucking bow shop or a rifle, get your hunter safety, learn how to shoot, go pay for classes, go get a tag, put in for one, go to the mountains, shoot your own animal, learn how to skin it, take it home and cook it.
Yeah.
And then guess what? it's much easier to learn how to shoot a gun than find the animal. Yeah. You know what I mean? Then you better be good enough to ethically kill it, and then you go through the process of skinning it, hiking it out. It's not a cheap process. Yeah. It's not an easy process. There's such a level of pride and again humbleness of like taking the animal's life, taking it home and putting it on the table and cooking it for your friends. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you're respecting your life, you're respecting its life, like, to understand. I think it's sad, you know what I mean? Like, I've killed an elk and rolled up, put another arrow in it, and watched it take its last breath. It's sad. I would be a callous bastard if I was like, oh yeah, I killed an animal.
Right.
Like, what a blockhead I'd be.
No,
like,
I get super emotional.
I want to feel that pain of the loss of life. Like, I've felt it a million times. I don't want to be calloused. I want to appreciate the life it's given me. It's given my friends. You know what I mean? Like, but to not want to feel it, but to get the meat of it, to put that meat on the table, like, without going through the process of respecting the kill, respecting its life and its death, that's shallow.
Yeah, it's really shallow.
You know, respect life enough to take it yourself.
And I think it puts a value on life. And I've said this before, but
100%.
Like, it taught me the value of life. And I think that that's something that is thrown to the wayside now with all these video games and just stupid stuff like that.
It makes you calloused on how easy it is that life is taken.
Exactly.
It's a game until it's done, and then you're like,
when you see it in person,
and then you go into jail or prison, or you've lost somebody close, and you're like, that's unfair, and you're like, yo, it is. Life's unfair. Yeah. Life isn't calloused or loving. It is what it is. You make it what it is.
Something we've talked about on the mountainside a lot, actually.
A lot, yeah. We are trying to put a value on life here at the mountainside, but also put a value on the experience more than, like, I get sad. Yeah. I don't like the killing part, to be honest with you,
sad.
100%.
It's sad, but
I like the journey and leading up to it, and the
hunt is awesome.
Yeah,
but the humbleness, the heartbreak, the respect. Right, you respect the animal by trying to hunt it. You respect the mission. You respect the hardship of trying to get it. You respect the animal's life, how sneaky and stealth it is. But really, the sad part is when it dies, right? When you take its life. You don't give an animal more respect than, you know, it's hard to say, but like, you're taking its life to give life.
100%,
right?
yeah.
You have dominion over the beasts of the field. Out of respect for the earth, you don't take more than your share. You take what you need for you and who you provide for. You give it that respect. That comes from Native American culture and far before. Now, fucking white man, whatever you want to call it, killing all the buffalo and shit like that. That's disregard for life in general, right? That's slap happy, whatever that is. That's not cool. That's being calloused. That's not connecting to who we are as people. Where we've been given this dominion over the earth to
it's almost corporate mentality what they were doing, you know what I mean? Like,
we've been given a blessing to be strong and think for ourselves and good and evil and how you use it, right? We're going to die one day. If you die and you look into your soul and your dog shit, I hope when you die, your spirit feels like dog shit forever, and that's hell. You look into your soul when you die and you're like, dude, like, I don't want to die, but I want to give and love so much, and I am unable to give enough love and enough care. I hope you're satisfied and you feel that love, and your spirit lives on and feels that love forever, and that's heaven. Do you know what I mean? Something like
100. That. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, no, it's that's heavy, dude. You're hitting me with some heavy shit tonight, man.
You're really putting it really nice, though. Honestly, we got a lot of quotable.
We got to do more podcasts with Andy. Put it on the schedule.
Andy,
next
hang
week.
out all the time. Guess what? We're just gonna live in San Diego.
I don't usually get very personal.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of podcasts? I mean, you've done a few of these.
Yeah, not really. I'm not a big I don't like talking about myself very much. There's too many good men I can talk about. They're better than me. You know what I mean? Good people. Two, you know, that Eagle video was really amazing. Eagle Beyond.
I haven't seen
Eagle
that,
Industries. I did a video with those guys with Ironclad.
Cool.
Really good. Got a bit personal, and I tried to watch it, and I couldn't watch myself get personal. I think a lot of people hit me up like, what a cool blessing it was for me, and I watched it, and like, me talking about my brothers or stuff like that, like I feel like I'm being a sad sack watching myself talk about being personal, and I joke 99% of the time, and I don't like being serious. So it's too hard for me to watch that. I watched it. I was like, oh, it's really good. Well done. I couldn't watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
I don't like being serious. You know what I mean? I want to live a certain way and think a certain way. I don't want to have to talk about it. I've been really open.
I appreciate you doing
like,
this.
The most
one.
open I've been in a podcast is with you guys. I appreciate it. I just don't like what
I appreciate you doing it, man, and that's not what we were here to do. Like so. I'm here to talk to you and learn about Andy, and Half Face Blades. And I really appreciate it, though, man. It's been awesome sitting down with you. And in the few that you've done, do you ever have like a question that's like, fuck, I wish they would ask me about this, or like
that always comes later after everything's shut down. You know what I mean? No, I think we've covered a lot of bases. I don't know, man. I think the biggest takeaway of like why I live my life, why I strive for being mentally healthy. Everybody struggles with their ups and downs and depression and happiness and relationships, and like you want to make your buddies proud that aren't with you anymore, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's my brothers, whether it's team guys, like if they could see you now, are you making them proud? Are you doing good? Are you watching out for others? Are you still a protector? Are you, behind closed doors, still being having integrity? Are you still doing right by others, even if it costs you a dime, even if it costs you some pain? Are you still doing right by others? Are you making deals and agreements and being honest to other people where you're not going to go to bed at night and be like, I'm a scumbag? You know what I mean? Like those are all things that need to be applied to people's life every day, where they need to check their integrity, check their honesty, whether it costs you. If you make a deal, stand by it, whether it costs you or not. And at the end of your life, you're not going to be like, I'm a fucking dickhead. You're going to be like, man, I could have done more, whether it cost me or not. I could have been more of a blessing, because when you're more of a blessing, I feel like it's not karma, but I think it's just action and reaction. Is if you can be a blessing to others and you see happiness in others, like you're going to automatically like feel happiness in yourself. The first time you experience something awesome that made you happy is like when you brought your friend 10 years later and they experienced, and you feel the same fucking happiness seeing them skydive or something like that. You're like, that experience, it reminds you of the experience you had.
That's what I'm getting out of my kids, man. That's like part of being a father.
That's
and
so
it's hard
cool
to explain, but it's like, that's
so
one
cool
reason
to
why I
see.
moved back to the hometown that I grew up in.
Yeah.
I want them to play in the same dirt that I did, like, because it feels
Experience
different.
the same. The cold air, the fucking snow, the pine cone fights. It's a grenade, grenade out. Like seeing those elk while you're driving through an evergreen, like in the park. You're like, oh, I'd eat that. But it's
like 3:00 in the morning. You can't sleep some nights because they're like running in the yard. The bulls are chasing the satellite bulls out and stuff. So
you can't.
It's awesome. You can't get that anywhere else.
Like nature gives you is like you can't beat it.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
You shouldn't try to beat it.
Speaking of that, like one of the questions that we ask most of our guests, and this is one that I want to ask you, is you spend a ton of time outdoors. You're in the outdoor industry, basically. And, hey, Anna, can you hook us up again? Sorry, we're going through it.
Guys, I got you.
Yeah, all right.
I got you.
Thank God you're here.
Thank you.
We would have to stop talking.
God, no, don't do that. Please keep talking. Please keep telling all the stories. We're loving it.
Oh, man.
What can we do better as a society when you're using public land or a wilderness area or even private land? Like, what are some common things that you run across that it's just like, fuck, why are people doing this,
The only way to ruin outdoors for somebody else is by going there and being overconfident in your capability. Sure. And I've seen this so many times, right, where it's 2 miles out to a waterfall. Somebody makes it very public where it is. People who go out there that in 110 degrees who shouldn't be hiking go out there, they get out there, they come back, twist their ankle, can't make it up a hill, they got to call a helicopter in. Now someone's been pulled out of there, and now they shut it down to everybody else. Sure. Understand your capability and work to that, right? When somebody gets hurt, I don't know, that's kind of more like state parks, areas.
No, but that's a great point. That's
it's
something that we haven't
sad.
brought
There's
up
a
on
lot
there
of
before.
places where now you have to have a permit to go there because 2 people got hurt who should have never been. They weren't fit enough, didn't take water, all these things, right? Educate yourself. don't go past your capability. Logic, I don't know, man. That's
yeah, it all comes down to education, I think, really. And that's
Yeah.
one thing that we're trying to promote here.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know, ask somebody. There's plenty of people
It's
out
out
there that
there.
can teach you.
The
There's plenty of
information is
schools
out
in
there.
Colorado, survival schools.
Especially
you don't
Colorado.
have to go survive.
Yeah.
You can just take a class to like
Yeah.
get you, the
Load up on
basics,
your
like
skills.
make sure you have water or how to
Yeah.
get water if you don't. Like,
Yeah.
there's a ton of
Especially
places
Colorado,
yeah.
man. You know.
And there's so much online now too. You know,
Yeah,
there's
you
a
can't,
ton
like-
of these people. It's like
Thank you.
just be responsible, and also part of that comes down to like knowing the rules. And I think my friend from Icelandic skis, Ben Anderson, great guy, grew up in my hometown. He's got
You did a one with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I haven't
Yeah.
listened to it, but I went
He
and saw
actually
it.
just
Thank
gave,
you.
I don't know, we were talking about Jack Carr, but I just saw Jack posted a picture of his skis.
Really?
He did like a 10th mountain skis. He works with special forces contracts or whatever to provide skis for
Cool.
teams guys or whoever, you
Yeah.
know, or special forces dudes.
Cool.
Great guy. Just gives back.
Yeah.
But I love his outlook. It's always just about, he said it best, you know, it's about appreciation. So being out there, and that's what we were talking about
Yeah.
when it comes to hunting and being a good steward.
Yeah,
You know,
being a
that's
good steward of the land. You know,
Yeah.
one, I guess knowing your limits, being logical. You ruin it for everybody else if you're a dumbass,
Sure.
right? When it comes to hunting, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, learn how to shoot, go train. You know, I forgot what the statistic is, but it's something like most, rifle kills are under 250 yards or something nuts. To me, that's wild. Like, my first elk was 1,002 yards.
Really?
Yeah, with
Holy
Jeff
shit,
Lobig,
yeah.
he had a Kimber Advanced Tactical 300 Win Mag, cold bore, 8 in the morning. You know, I'm a decent shot, you know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
1,002 yards. After that, I've only bow hunted.
He said 1,000 yards, and then he goes, "I'm a decent shot."
Yeah, I mean, I guess I got lucky that day. You know what I mean? But, like, go know your fucking gun. The worst thing
Know
in the
your
world,
gear.
Yeah, like, worst thing is,
Yeah.
like, dudes get out there. How about this? In a blind, at fucking 25 yards, a dude blows the fucking hindquarters off a fucking whitetail. Like, dude,
that's
like,
the worst, dude.
like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, what
That's
are you
even
doing?
worse than
You've got the time.
not. Yeah.
100 yards. Get your dope.
That's why I put 60 arrows through my bow a day. I try to, you know.
Yeah.
I like try to.
And
at
I don't
least do-
practice
yeah.
enough, but like, man, that's another big thing of being a good steward. Like, one, you lose an animal. Two, it dies somewhere. I get circle of life, right? You're feeding the coyotes, you're feeding the raccoons, you're feeding the skunks, you're feeding the fucking the bears, you're feeding the mountain lions. 100%. That's good. And I watch Meat Eater. Dude, that dude's one of the coolest dudes ever, right? Steve Ranella. Like, and he doesn't show only hits. He shows the loss of an animal. He shows a bad shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's an amazing hunter. He shows like what can happen. And he shows loss. He goes, you know what? I'm not going to hunt the rest of this trip. I feel like I've taken my share, even though I didn't collect the animal. That's a good steward.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm not going to beat myself up. That's life. That circle life. The animal's going to go feed these animals that are going to get hunted or not hunted or protected. And that's the circle of life. And I'm just in that circle of life. You know what I mean? So he doesn't beat himself up. He's a good steward by training, practice, make sure he's doped in. It's rock and roll. I don't know how to put it, but he's a good steward. And you should
Yeah.
be too. Know your shit. Train, practice, best shot you can. Learn how an animal should be shot. Shoulder, behind the shoulder, neck, like depending on the animal.
Set a limit. Set a limit on where you're.
Yeah, be
that
like,
you
hey, I'm
can
only
take
going to
an
shoot for
ethical
the.
shot. Yeah.
I know I'm good at this 300. I've trained a 300.
And
You know
be
what I mean?
confident. You know.
Well, your
Yeah.
confidence should be based on
Yeah. Exactly.
skill.
Exactly.
Right?
100%.
The problem with the world is you got false confidence based on not skill.
Yeah.
Right? That's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Base your confidence on skill set, and then take yourself down a notch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So being a good steward, talking about good steward of the land, reporting stuff, not taking more than your share. Reporting kills, no kills, whatever. Like, I think that California Fish and Game has a little too much power, and there's a lot of rules and laws and regulations that they could loosen. It is what it is. I'll respect the laws and the rules. You help out by being that good steward that hunts correctly, reports kills, no kills, reports your stuff so that they can give more tags out.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? You know,
it's all
if you
system.
poach, poach and you get caught, screw you. Don't do it.
Yeah.
You're not helping out. You're not helping yourself out by poaching. Trust me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if they understand how many cows are killed,
there's a reason why it's a federal offense too, man.
Yeah.
Like nobody should fucking be doing it.
Yeah,
Straight up.
agreed.
So, yeah. Know the rules. Know what it is. Yeah. But yeah, man. Well said. You know, we're killing the time here. It's been awesome, man. I really appreciate it. What's next for you? What do you got coming up? You got anything coming up in the future? Any big blade drops or new blade coming out?
You know, originally I would be dropping knives like during the week, and it'd be like, 20, 30, and then there'd be 1,000 people mad at me. And I'd be like, oh, man. So now it's like Friday afternoons in general. It's like, okay, we'll work all week, get as many as we can done. Friday afternoon, boom. Pretty cool. Then we have people like, hey, I'm always at work during that time. And then Kelsey and me would be like, all right, let's figure you out. Like, in general, who comes first? Like active duty guys, law enforcement, first responders in general are going to come first. Want to take care of them. That's been a goal from the beginning. Take care of those guys that need tools. Haven't really been taking custom orders. I really enjoy being able to be creative here in the shop with the guys, make what we want to make, working on folders.
I think you need to stay true to that, man.
Yeah, it's good, man.
You guys make good shit.
I want to do both, but it gets hard if we're taking too many orders. Now we're working on everybody else, what they want versus what gives us kind of the lifeblood. One is obviously making you happy, giving something, putting your hand you really resonate with. Two is also being creative and new and different, and also still purpose driven. This year, I get to hunt. I get to be a part of my team here. I get to design knives, make knives.
Are you still working in film at all, or are you working on any movies right now?
Yeah, I've been on.
We didn't really talk about that. We're gonna have to do another podcast with you for sure.
I've been on Avatar 2 since 2017 as the military advisor.
Okay. Is that movie ever gonna come out?
It's gonna be so incredible. So been one of my best friends, Garrett Warren. He's a stunt director, second unit director. I've worked with him on Logan and a bunch of other films. He did the first one. Dude's incredible, this guy. You got to look this dude up, Garrett Warren. Look up his backstory. He's got one eye. His chick put a hit on him, shot him through his face.
What? Holy shit.
Oh, it's nuts. The guy's the most insane, credible, good man, right? Eye patch. Shot him through his eye, out his cheek, stomach, leg. Nuts. Anyway, worked with him.
From the Google counter here. He
Well,
really does.
He's got a
have
Dateline episode.
He literally
He
has
a Dateline
Wow.
episode of the hitman smoking him and him living. Anyway, awesome dude. Worked for him. Met Jim Cameron through him. Got to come on the show, work with those guys. They've been working on it. It's like 2017. The next one, doing some stunts with him on it. And then they're like, if you're going to be on it, you got to play a role. So I can't really talk too much more about that. But
sure.
We'll
awesome. We'll be looking for that.
Big blue, ugly me. So then the next ones will come, and working on those, and super like another blessing in my life being able to be a part of that. That industry is interesting. I don't actively search for work in that industry, just because the industry is a lot of crap, a lot of good people behind the scenes, and I've been blessed to meet some really amazing people. Garrett, Jim Cameron's an incredible dude. Behind the scenes is like the incredible people. I worked for Michael Bay, doing Transformers 3, 4, 5, Turtles. He didn't do Turtles. 13 Hours.
Yep.
With Michael. I love Michael. A lot of people are like toughest guy to work for in the industry. He's always loved the military, respected the military, loved the teams. He's messed with me on set. You know what I mean? But I love the guy. Incredible dude. Worked on those films. Been really blessed to be able to work in that industry. I don't want to.
The stunt coordinators and all those people are just everyday people,
cool
man.
dudes,
They're
man.
awesome people.
Yeah, and the stunt guys in general, pretty hardworking. Good. Mike Wahlberg's fucking cool dude. Good people, man. There's some really, really good people in the industry. Big supporters of the teams, big supporters of the military. Good guys to work for.
Oh, yeah.
Blessed to be working with Garrett Warren, Jim Cameron. Super stoked on the films coming out, man. I can't wait. It'd be so cool.
That's awesome.
For
you. Andy, man, this has been a lot of fun, man. I really appreciate what you do, and thank you for your service again, man. It means so much to me, man. Like, I never served, but it does mean a lot to me, So
Dude,
I really appreciate it.
I'm blessed I was able to. Got to walk
Yeah.
among giants.
Hell yeah. So please tell people where they can find you. You have Half Face Blades. You got all these other companies. Drop whatever you want, man. Floor is yours.
Shoot, man. Half Face Blades. That's the little knife company.
Just Google it. You can find the Instagram.
Under the awning in the backyard. I was kind of bummed at the time. I'd kind of decided to go back to my roots. Just like, I'll just make some tools for my buddies. Kind of started as that, grew into a business. Been blessed to grow that and grow a friendship, and just not from my own teammates here and buddies here and our team here, but the relationships from there. Now it's a real business, and I'm blessed by it and the people I'm working with. I don't know, man. Yeah, Half Face Blades, Instagram, Half Face Blades. My personal one, just kind of my personal one. It's just my trips and stuff like that. I don't take daily selfies in a bikini or anything.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah,
for not doing that.
I don't do a lot of Facebook Lives because I don't like looking at me talk. You know what I mean? Just staying true to that, and been really blessed to be working with cool companies. I want to give shout out to like 1620 Workwear. These dudes, Josh Walker, these guys, Northeast, that build like the best work clothing, and those guys had contacted us years ago and were like, hey, we'd love to work with you, and hooked us up with them pants. Now I buy all the guys in my shop, pro deal with those guys, buy all the guys work clothing, shirts, pants, shorts in the summer, best work clothing. Not cheap, but American made, really good. Combat abrasives, like they hook us up, we pay a cheap deal with all. I mean, the belts we go through to grind knives is, I can't even, it's probably,
my God, yeah.
I can't even have thousands of belts, right? Good guys, been working with those dudes. Mechanics gloves, like hooking us up with gloves, because we rip our fingers up all the time. I got this dude who does all the leather work. This guy, Wayne, old 67 brand, awesome dude. Like, these guys have been able to grow. My Kydex company, these guys have grown as we grow. We're like, we got to pull all the good people along with us, man.
And that's just it. Your knives, when you get them, they don't just come with just like in a piece of paper, dude. They come in an awesome Kydex sheath, with clip, the full line. Yeah,
you can rock leather.
Shit, yeah,
dude. Like, all, if I'm blessed, fucking good people around me, I better fucking bestow it.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's a team. Like, no one's blessed alone.
Hell yeah.
And if you are, you're a dummy. You better be blessed with your friends. Being alone sucks. Man.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Anyway, the foundations we had talked about that I fucking love, and I have such good friendships and relationship, from the C4 Foundation, the Big Will Running Warrior, American Warrior Association, Warrior's Choice Foundation, where I got my dog from, Tribe 1513, which I'm working on now, which will become a thing in the next 3 months. And there's so many more, I'm not naming, I apologize, but man, there's so much good.
Awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you, man. Like I said, I thank you for having us down here. This has been a lot of fun. We'll have to do it again, man. And
cool, man.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to you, brother.
Anna, you good back there?
Yeah, we are all good back there.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.